And good evening, everybody, and welcome to Beaconville on this Friday night from UMass Boston. Edward Berry Ice Rink plays home to the first men's ice hockey home match for your Beacons in 636 days. Mason South alongside Matt Meisenbacher for UMass Boston and the University of Southern Maine. Beacons and Huskies duking it out tonight, the first of two games inside 24 hours here for your men's ice hockey. Here at home, they will have Babson tomorrow in what is sure to be an absolute thriller. But before we do that, Matt, this is a big matchup. Cannot look to Babson tomorrow and overlook the Huskies today.
Without a question, and I think that's going to be the main theme, especially for the first period tonight, is the rivalry game is tomorrow, and everyone's excited for that. It's Alumni Day. A lot of my old teammates are in and around the rink. Very, very exciting. Tonight's the home opener. You got Southern Maine, a team that on paper you outmatched. Got to take care of business tonight. The last wanted to drop this one, and then all of a sudden tomorrow kind of has that deflated feel getting in. Take care of business tonight. Team comes in with a lot of momentum, which we get coming out of that Norwood team. Very, very exciting here in the building tonight. As you mentioned, it's been a long layoff. They really need to come out strong.
These two teams have met time and time again. An all-time series. Tomorrow is the rivalry game, yes, but there is no shortage of all-time matchups between these schools. It's close on paper, Matt. Last time the Huskies won it 3-2 in overtime back in 2018. The Beacons, though, a dominant 9-3 win in 2020. But these are two teams that are not the same teams that we saw in 2020.
No, and we were talking a little bit, game, and I was talking with Coach, and really the rank, especially most seasons, right? You just kind of look at them and you move on, right? And no one really truly knows how to get on the ice, especially the layoff, graduating classes, and players not coming back. I mean, you're going to see it on this Beacons roster. It's a ton of fresh lineup that probably wouldn't be there given the circumstances. The Huskies team, and traditionally it's that hang around, and that goes back to what we talked about, getting a strong start. Let the team kind of hang around, one goal difference. Next thing you know, they get a lead late, and that's what you saw there the last time the Huskies won it overtime in 2015. That's the game that the Huskies are going to want to play. Low scoring, going to have to rely on their goaltender and try to keep it close. Beacons want to really, as we'll talk about, get that scoring started early.
Lots to come in this pregame as we get you ready for puck drop. We do have an extensive season preview. It's been 2 years in the making, so let's take a look at the 2021-2022 Beacon Men's Preview.
It's really exciting to get another opportunity. Kind of, in a way, saw my career die last season, and then to kind of get a second wind here. Just helps you appreciate every day around the ice, and really you don't take anything for granted. So it's stuff like that, and making sure I'm always working really hard every time I'm on the ice, and just not taking anything for granted. I think just the general excitement level has been way higher than anything we've seen. Just majority of our team hasn't played a real game in almost 2 years. So hopping on the ice for day one, spirits were high. Everybody's really excited, ready to get going. Everybody's kind of ready to do whatever it takes to get in the win column and have a memorable season here.
I feel like for this preseason, it's been a lot of catching up. We had a lot of hard work to do to solidify our positions and work back to where we were, make up for lost time, if you will. We had a lot more skating to do, a lot more competition, and I think that the depth is so far in our team that there's really no one knows who is going to be playing, so we're all battling and trying hard and harder every day. I think as a freshman, my preseason was pretty hard because I was trying to adjust to what it was like to be in college and trying to mimic what the older guys were doing. But I think that this year the younger guys definitely had a slight advantage in that they were more in shape, in skating shape, and from the game perspective. So we were really just focusing on getting that touch back, and I think it was hard for all of us, but it was a long period of time and a lot of work that I think contributed to all of us getting better, and we're ready for the season to start now.
The goal unit in general brings in a lot of experience. I think this year we got Liam Murray being a transfer from Bethel, just has a lot of experience, comes from different places he's playing. And then we got Connor, also local kid, Boston Bandits. It's a good competition day in and day out. Everyone keeps us on his toes. Can't take any day for granted, and we're all competing every day for the spot.
I think we've got just a lot of talent back there. Any way you look at it, we've got a ton of depth. We've got anybody who can play any spot in the lineup as far as the D-core goes. We only lost one guy but we brought in a few freshmen, some size and some skill. I think that'll make it more competitive all around and just kind of make it a tougher unit to break into. But I think no matter which way you look at it, it's going to be a good defensive unit, and it's going to be tough for other teams to play against, no matter who's in the lineup or where they're at. Some of the new freshmen have stuck out to me. Some of the young D, Barrett and Pat Keegan, and then even Mike Krupinski. Keegan and Krupinski both add a ton of size to our back end, a little bit of toughness as well, and some puck moving. And then we've got Barrett, who's kind of our Bono replacement. Can run the power play really well from the point, skates super well. He's been really fun to watch.
I think we have a really powerful first line with Bailey Conger, Jeff Skinner, and Chris Peters. They're really going to be a lot of the production from our team this year. I think that this year between lines 2 and 4, we don't have as much disparity as we used to, and we're all going to be competing for earning our roles.
Also got some transfers, obviously, that came in. I think Conger has looked amazing out there for us. He's making some crazy plays. We've got Clifton, who's looked really, really steady up and down the middle of the ice, can really shoot the puck. So I think just kind of the theme that we've got this year as a team is we've got a ton of depth, and it's going to make it a challenge and a competition every day for who's going to be the guys in the lineup and who's going to step up into those big roles.
Season's still very early, but there's a lot of skill I've noticed this year, a lot more maybe hockey IQ added, but it's a great time to come to practice every day and make it fun. Everyone's trying to get better. It's a great atmosphere to compete, and going against these forwards every day, it's definitely making the goalies better and the defense better. So it's a win-win for us. Evan Hout just leading every aspect of the way. Love that from him. It's been huge, especially from the down year. He really took the bull by the horns. We got Chris Peters, who's an animal on and off the ice, and it's just the leadership group this year is so strong. You can look at anyone, and anyone could wear a C. Honestly, it's really like a family attitude, and everyone's helping one another.
NEHC is always a tough conference, and I think any way you look at it, the top 5 teams can kind of go any way. So I think the preseason poll came out, and we just kind of take that as a challenge. Nobody's really looking towards us to make any noise right now. And I think we all believe that we've got a group that can do some big things this year. So it's just up to us to really come together, buckle down, and do what we have to do to prove everybody wrong. I think we've got a ton of talent. We just have to show everybody else that we can put it together.
I think that the biggest thing that those tournaments can do for us is provide a winning attitude. If we start winning early, getting some hardware, then we're going to carry that confidence into the bigger tournaments and into the playoffs at the end of the year.
Well, expectation and goal is we want to win. We want to win now. We want to win. That's pretty simple, but you can't win a championship day one. You got to win one game at a time, one period at a time, one shift. Take every day. You can't take it for granted, because obviously last year we didn't have a year, and I'm guilty of it. I thought I had another year, after freshman year, but it was a year removed. So coming to the rink every day, just practicing as hard as you can, just enjoying every moment, enjoying the process, and see where it ends up.
I mean, obviously expectations are always you want to go to the tournament, national championship, stuff like that, but I think that we got to downsize a little bit, focus on game-by-game basis. I think the goal would be don't lose games at home. This should be a tough place to play. And just bring that right up into the NEHC tournament. We want to win the league, win the regular season, going through playoffs and start there, and then you never know what happens once you win that.
Welcome you back. Take a look at the starting lineups as we are about to get set. Matt and I will go through the keys to the game in a moment, but first the starting lineups. For UMass Boston, Alex Duncan will be the left winger. Chris Peters, who we will highlight in just a minute, will be at the right wing spot. Kola Bankowskis is the center. Roland and Bogan, the 2 Ryans, will be at the defense, and Sam Beth will be in goal. We pause for the national anthem, then we will go through the starters, and it'll be puck drop. Just about ready to get this one underway as we take a look at Southern Maine's starting lineup. Tyler Mitchell and Austin Marini, the outside wingers, with Adam Withers holding down the fort as the center. Antoine Guignac and Maverick Lines, the two defensemen, with Anthony D'Aloisio in goal for the Huskies. Matt, as we get ready to get this one underway, we think about these to the game, and there's a couple of them, but we were talking through this as well. What are your thoughts on how UMass Boston comes on top tonight?
It really starts with a great first period, and that's true with any game. But I think particularly tonight, had a game against Norwich at Norwich. You're up one in the third period, and they come back and they tie the game. It's still, something to build off. The last thing you want to do is come into this and, fall a little short out of that. So that for me, that's the big one. And the penalties. There's players tonight that are not in the lineup specifically because of the penalties that they've taken. They know who they are. And that's going to be a focal point for Coach Lyle tonight. He's going to be aware of that. The other thing, we looked at the lineup a little bit. The second line is really your only line that has a ton of experience, right? Andy Walker, Ethan Nitkin, and Jeffrey Skinner. Everybody else, we still don't really know. So it's going to be a little bit learning on the fly here as we go.
All right, we are about set, and we are underway. UMass Boston traveling left to right. They are in the home white, trimmed in blue with the blue helmet. On the opposite them, University of Southern Maine in navy blue, trimmed in white and gold. They will be traveling right to left with the big USM on the front of their sweater. Southern Maine shifts it down. Beacon's able to retrieve. We get our first line change quickly inside 30 seconds. Taking it nicely. Dribbling out is Krapinski. Shifted it. Krapinski leaves it for his teammate Itkin. Second line is in there for Coach Blau. Taken away by Southern Maine. They gain the zone. Shot comes in, blocked. Gets behind. Shot attempt that time by Dowler. Dowler back on the puck. Backhanded shot. Glove save by Best.
Bass was lucky there. That was a bad change. That was a 2-on-1 in front of their own net.
Speaking of nearly spilled in front, that time saved initially, but D'Aloisio nearly put it right into the path of a Beacon. He was able to get it behind his net. This one will go up into the net, go up into that bench of the Beacons, and we'll have our first face-off outside of the center circle.
I just mentioned, I think the forwards assumed that UMass was going to control that puck. At least they were in their own zone, allowing for that change. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a disruption, and they were right on top of Best. I don't know if they got a shot on goal there, but more fortunate than anything.
And you talked about it, Matt, how important it is to come out strong in this first period. Can't have lackadaisical changes inside the first 3 changes of the game.
Right, and that'll come. There's probably some jitters. I'm looking down. There's probably a lot of parents, in the rink here tonight, and you want to get that first shift underway. The one thing I will mention, getting shots on goal, and in UMass, I'd expect them to finish this game probably right around 40 shots on goal is probably their target. 40-ish, I would say. They're probably looking to be 10 or more shots per period. I'd say probably closer to 50. Do the math on that. Never a math guy, but I think I'm close to 40 if you're somewhere between 10 and 15 a period, right, Mason?
Absolutely. And you look at this team in the first 4 games of the season, 3, 4, 5, and 6 goals. Not in that order, but every single game, high-scoring offense has been the mantra so far. At the same time, you'd love the defense to be a little bit more stringent as well.
Agreed. Yeah, they definitely want to play in the offensive zone, but I agree with you. It's definitely not something they're looking to get into a scoring fest.
Nice save, crawling down in front of Loizio. He spilled it, but was able to track it down and keep his body in front of the puck. All the way back, Bogan, one of the 2 Ryans on the first line. Battling for it, comes out with it to the Beacon. Shifting in front, nice little split of the defense, and it's lofted forward. Opportunity to chase it down before it's an icing, but it is an icing before Peters could get there.
Yeah, and another, I talked to the coaching staff a little bit pregame, and one of the focal points, again, penalties, which we talked about in the pregame, but face-off. And really something they have not felt really confident in yet this part of the season. So here's an opportunity, an icing call. Coach Blyle going with his senior line and seeing if it can establish. Looks like a little bit of a line change already here, as I'm seeing.
We'll have to redo this face.
But I walk up. I'm seeing Skinner's on the ice. Maybe Skinner moved up a line. So it looks like Skinner moved up to the first line here. Ready.
You have that first line in there. It was originally Benkowskis, Duncan, Peters with the two Ryans, Bogan and Rollins, but they've shifted that up already, just 2.5 minutes into this ball game. Shifted around the ice, behind the goal. To top the crease. Stick save away. Still in the zone, though. Beacon's trying to pin the Huskies back deep. Moving out front, taken away. Curtis Judd, he's able to clear the zone, race back to this far end of the ice. And another icing call, this time against the Huskies, so we'll take face off at the other end of the ice.
Number 12, Bankowskis, 2 shifts already tonight, and really finding the puck. That's 2 shifts in a row now where he's created some offense really out of nothing. And not a great ace scoring opportunity on either, but hell, he got some juice tonight, and Coach Stephen Bucco talked to him already. Keep an eye on number 12 tonight. We might.
One of the few players out there for the Beacons that doesn't have a point this season. They've been very high scoring. Bankowskis, not one of them. See if he can get on the score sheet tonight. This one taken away nicely by the Huskies. They flip it all the way down ice, and it will not be an icing as it has to be stopped by Beth.
High risk play. Miss the net there. It's another icing, and I guess risk reward type.
This one turned over, though. Centering pass goes all the way through. Retrieved by the Beacons. Flipping in front of the net. Taken away. Southern Maine trying to clear their zone. They do so. Only as far as Krupinski. The Beacons have to reset. Flipped in. Tracing it down McCoy. McCoy battling it on those far boards. Couple of players joining him in there. One of them is Gino Carabelli. Finally comes out. Southern Maine has it. They clear their zone into neutral ice. Flipped in deep. Best retreats behind his goal. Finds Roland. Back out towards center ice. Across. Retrieved this time by Bartuccio Pereira. Down ice again. Another foot race. First one to it is Roland. He gets it out. Bordeaux takes a heavy hit. Goes in the middle. And Best has to covers and frees the puck.
Most fortunate. That's a turnover you can't have. And high in your own defensive zone, you've got to be sure about that breakout pass. If you're going to the center, you can't get picked off there. And that's the second time now where it hasn't really cost them. You know, neither shot has ended up with a great save by Best, but turnovers in their own defensive zone here. We're not 5 minutes in yet.
Another save, this one on a quick wrister from Brendan Dowler. Held nicely by Best. We've seen a couple of chances in the early going where the defense kind of left the goaltender out to dry on both sides.
Yeah, and it's that quick turnover. You know, they're probably assuming that breakout pass is going to connect, and when it doesn't, perhaps a little flat.
He can collide with an official. They still have the puck on their stick, though. Moved across, just a little bit behind Bordeaux. Tries to retrieve it. One goes all the way down and is covered by Delosio.
Neither goaltender really, now that I come to think of it, pretty routine stuff by both goaltenders. Probably what Southern Maine wants, right? Last thing is try and get into a foot race or a scoring race with UMass. Probably fine with the way things are going. Play a lot of time in the neutral zone, I would think. Probably stuff.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of possession hockey inside either attacking zone. Here's an opportunity, though, for the Beacons. They take one in from distance, and that's a nice save from Delosio. Saw it the whole way and gloves it.
Pat Keegan, number 16, the freshman defenseman, 6'2", 6'3", and you can see really let that thing go. Delosio, a smaller goaltender, that's always tough. You got to get that shoulder up in a hurry to just stop.
Like we'll just have to redo this face-off. Opportunity to win this one. Nitkin, 6'2" senior from Miami, Florida. Not your typical hockey hub. They play north, play his college hockey here at UMass Boston. Flip down, and there should be icing. It is.
Skinner back on the line. Not quite sure. He was with the first line in that defensive zone draw, but now back to that second line with Nitkin. So perhaps, probably an equipment issue. Needed him to sub in for a shift. But I'll be paying attention to that tonight. You know, we talked a little bit about this. As he goes, it's learning on the fly. It's learning on the fly for the coaching staff, too. It plays well together, and I wouldn't be surprised if line combo.
Face off. One, it looked like initially by Southern Maine, but it's back with the Beacons. Shot comes in, blocked in front of the net. Still in the zone, but eventually chipped out where it's retrieved by Petruzella. Petruzella back in the zone. Line change. Southern Maine has it behind their net. Putting some forecheck pressure on are the Beacons, but it's cleared nicely by the Huskies. Handled well down that far side, trying to gain the zone. Matthew Saborin comes out. Southern Maine will have to reset in the neutral zone. Flip deep, glove. Best, waiting for it, eventually freezes.
Probably shortstop or second base. They being very confident, right? Little pop fly, no problem for goaltender Best. And go ahead.
I was going to say, it's been almost uncanny how many times Southern Maine's flipped it, and it happened to be right at the goaltender.
Right. Hey, that could be a strategy because guess what? Now you got an offensive draw, right? Maybe if you think, hey, we're not going to beat D by skating, let's get it on net, try to get him to cover. It's free zone entry. I've that is another shot there. But hey, we'll put it at the faceoff dot, try to beat him there. It is a potential strategy.
That turnover from Evan Helt, the grad student from Sylvania, Ohio, wearing that captain's C on his jersey. But another unforced turnover, really. Seen a couple of them on both sides in the early going, both trying to get some kind of rhythm. Battling forward off the face-off, one back by Alex Duncan. One comes out, Southern Maine, as a check goes right into the boards, over into the bench, and here's an opportunity 2-on-2. Shot comes in, deflected wide, Deluzio. Reset at the point, shot comes in high by Deluzio. We have Deluzio and we have Deluzio.
Good luck with that.
I know. Wasn't ready for that. Still in there. Long offensive opportunity for the Beacons. 6 minutes gone, opening period. UMass Boston and Southern Maine. Battling for it on the near board are the Beacons and Huskies. Who can come out with this one? Long wait. They try and get it free. Southern Maine eventually finds its way out, but it's kept in the zone nicely by UMass Boston. Flipped high and in! Benkowskis! You called it, Matt.
And the captain, Evan Helt, getting him the puck. He knows. Just kind of, I don't know, a weird play. I mean, just a wrister from the blue.
Ryan Rowland gets the goal. Benkowskis was in there. You said Evan Held as well, getting him the puck. Flipped high and found its way into the back of the net.
Yeah, just a strange play. And that was one with the goaltender. He's just trying to get a blocker on that and get that into the corner. And I don't know if the puck was maybe rolling or he didn't get all of it, but the puck, instead of being away from the net, directed right up in the air. And as it comes down, just rolls right into the net. Unfortunate for the goaltender. That's one from distance. You want to something a little bit better than that with a rebound, but looks like Roland's going to get his first collegiate career goal, and congratulations to him. That's always a good feeling.
The junior from Manahawkin, New Jersey, has 2 assists, now has a goal on the season. Mass Boston leading it 1-0. A little bit fluky, but they all count the same. This one, no icing. Southern Maine has to retreat and retrieve. Turned over potentially by Austin Marini. He's able to get his line clear, though. Back onto the stick this time of Nick Knoll. Launches it in. Southern Maine has to retreat as the Beacons have it back. Rushing it up the near side, Jake Adkins. Flips it in deep. 7 minutes gone. This time it's retrieved by Petruzella. One comes all the way down, and once again, it's not going to be an icing because it goes right to Beth.
It's a pretty easy night as a goaltender. If you're going to get shots from zones away, just field those. I think I can put up with that.
Sam Best, the transfer from Division I American International College in New York. Normally a D2 and out of the North 10, but in ice hockey they are D1. Very nice block in front of the net. Taken free this time, Owen Bordeaux. Bordeaux moves the puck to his left, Corey Clifton. Clifton in front of the net, taken away. Cannon. Cannon, retreat, reverses. Southern Maine's able to get it out of the zone into neutral ice, but now they play 1-on-4, and it's a line change. And again, it goes down to Beth, who has the easy job of shuttling it behind his net to a teammate. This one flipped in. Deluzio does well to keep it in there. Find a teammate. Nice reverse pivot that time by Bjorstrom. Bjorstrom this time finding Fuller. Fuller sends it in deep. Again, UMass Boston first to react, and there really hasn't been much for Best to do over the last 5+ minutes. This one will go into the bench, and we have a pause.
One of the good things about being offensively present, the amount that the have so far in this hockey game is it really hasn't allowed Southern Maine to establish any offense of their own. And they're so busy defending that by the time they do get the puck, they're so exhausted they have to dump it, right, and get that change. They don't have enough left in the tank to do anything offensively. So that's something, if I'm the coaching staff of the Beacons, hey, we can play defense through our offense.
This one, a little bit of a 50-50 puck. One in there deep. Southern Maine now pinned up against the boards by 2 Beacon players who were able to come out with it. Opportunity for a 3-on-3 break. Centering pass. Goaltender is taken out and makes the save in the process.
Yeah, that's one of those, as a goaltender, you know what you got to do there, and more than likely, you got someone coming back door. So you know there's more than likely going to be a collision, but you got to do something with that pass. And so you see Delosio was able to not only corral it, but hang on, no rebound. When you get bumped like that, you never really quite know what's going to happen to the puck, but fortunate there, good play. Took the hit, made a play.
Very good play. You speak from experience there, I think, Mr. Meisenbacher.
I've been in a few of those. They're never fun, especially if you guys, 6 feet coming down the backside, and you don't even get.
A little bit of extracurricular activity, as is to be expected whenever the goaltender is involved in a heavy collision. Another nice save. This time, shot came in from Duncan.
That's something that obviously he's going to be busy tonight, but rebound. I'll be watching that all night. He's really got to cover and pucks all the time, allow these forwards to change. Last thing you want to do is try and play those pucks unnecessarily.
Native of Frisco, Texas, in net tonight. Anthony Delosio, the senior, only stands 5'9". Matt mentioned it early going. A little bit of an undersized goaltender for both sides. This one spilled in front. Opportunity on the rebound. Duncan was there. Centering pass. Opportunity coming for the slap shot right side. Covered and frozen by Delosio.
He looks solid, doesn't he? He's not panicking, and there's a lot of pressure. That's a tough play for a goaltender. Puck, you got 3 forwards in front. Puck comes from behind you out to the center. You've got to try to scramble and find it. I don't see much panic from 30 right now. It's like standing his ground, allowing the puck to come to him. And that's something you can build off if you're Southern Maine. Now, again, this is going to be the 3rd, maybe the 4th defensive zone draw. So it's not a recipe for a win there. They've got to find the way down the other end of the ice. Goaltender right now looks strong.
Patrick McCoy taking the face-off. One for the Beacons. Trying to get that puck in there deep. Peters. We haven't said his name much today, but he is one of the players to highlight, certainly, coming off of a hat trick of assists. Not as remembered as much as the hat trick of goals, but anytime you have a hat trick and assist, it's impressive. This one saved by Delosio on a tough angle. Comes back out. Alex Duncan tracked it in there. Reversing this time, Peters. Peters centering pass to the point. Shot comes in, and another held puck by Delosio.
Yeah, I think Walker missed that a little bit. He was coming late off the bench, and a forward will love that because it's very rare that they can get covered. There's really nobody that's aware of somebody coming off the bench like that. So you can see went right to mid lane, and I don't think he got all he wanted on that shot.
Jeffrey Skinner, ready for the face-off. He wins it. Nearly did. Southern Maine's going to get that one, though. Comes out. Not a lot of pressure on Austin Marini, who's able to get it clear of the zone. Fed in deep, but again, really nothing going offensively for Southern Maine. Right back into the attack goes Andy Walker, and the Beacons. Shot comes in front, and it scores!
It's going to get waved off. I don't know. It's close. I think Lyle's going to probably want a word with the ref here just to get an understanding of what he saw. To me, that was, and the refs are going to talk about it here, that was close. Someone had a better angle. This might get overruled, folks. That was, so the rule is above the cross, so he's going to call the high stick, no goal. And I think if I'm Coach Blau, I'm going to want a word just to understand what he saw, because I don't know, from our vantage point, that looked pretty close to a good goal.
Incredible hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
Not even worse. So Coach Priest, high stick. I thought it was closer than that, but from their vantage point, obviously, they probably saw it above the crossbar and washed it out immediately.
Well, it was an immediate reaction. The officials didn't hesitate. Immediately signaled that the stick was too high. So after
big hit.
Incredible hit that time, delivering it, that one, Brendan Dowler.
Wow, that was heavy.
So the only goal for the Beacons in this one, a little bit fluky, and then what could have been almost an incredible goal is waved off. This one's right in front of the net. Again, there's been 2-3, and now we're going to have a delayed penalty as the goalkeeper taken out, or goaltender taken out for a second time. And it's going to be Jeffrey Skinner, who nearly had the goal, who's now going to head to the box.
Yeah, this one's tough because he does get bumped in front of the net. I think the call is because the referee says he didn't make enough of an effort to avoid hitting the goaltender, and I think that's why he got called. He definitely gets hit, and I think Coach Blyle is saying that right now. He got it checked in front of the net, but I think the referee saw, not that he meant to, but not enough of an effort to stop himself from falling into the goaltender, so he made the call.
Now, we talked about penalties in the opening. Now, that's not a penalty. There's anything wrong with that. The one thing that the Beacons have been good this season, because they've been on so many penalty kills, they're 3 of 20. Our opponents are 3 of 20 on their on their power play. So, an opportunity for the Beacons to add another one to that stat.
Without a doubt.
This one deflected off of the linesman, now shifted all the way back down, and Southern Maine will have to start from scratch again. Penalty kill defense in there for Coach Blyle. Pass back this time, gaining the zone, Withers. Moves the puck to the near boards, and again, cleared nicely. It's back to business as usual. They have a man down, but they've been able to really prevent anything from getting close to best net. Southern Maine. Withers again. Snaking inside. Again, it will go off the linesman. Held on the near board. Southern Maine cannot get anything.
Get 2-on-1 here.
Opportunity for a 2-on-1. Short-handed attack. Shot comes in, saved, and covered.
Shot. I like that. Are not so much twins. Delosio and Delosio.
Yeah, DeLuisio is the Beacon, and Delosio.
It's going to be tough. That's going to be a tough one. But a nice 2-on-1 there. And the reason I like that shot is he put it in an area, maybe, I always want to score, but hit him in the chest. That forces the goaltender to cover it. And now you've got an offensive view of the Beacons, an offensive draw. It's 1:06 left on this penalty kill. That's something that's going to take another 10, 15 seconds off that clock.
Southern Maine wins the draw. Nearly a trip. No.
Almost 2.
Almost. Somehow the Beacons get away with that one. They have it in their defensive zone. This one cleared a couple of big hits in there. Pat Keegan went down, but it's cleared eventually, and the Beacons will take that. 45 seconds left to kill off on this Husky power play.
Not giving him much of anything. You'll see here. Watch as the Huskies break out. Beacons are going to give them up until about the red line and then start to push forward.
Southern Maine has it, but again, they're immediately met as soon as they get to the red center line. Flip it in deep, 23 seconds, and we've yet to see a shot at best net in the last minute and 40 of the power play. And again, it is simply cleared. Too easy. Southern Maine's delivered some heavy hits, but they should probably be the ones attacking and not hitting on this power play.
Agree with that.
And it's cleared again, and that should just about do it. Easy does it. Not that easy, but it was made to look pretty easy. Here's an opportunity right off it. Backhand shot, score! Woo-hoo-hoo!
Wow, Chris Peters. Goodness gracious.
What a goal. Right off the power play. What an outstanding play. Peters, his second of the season, to go along with 5 assists, and he just keeps on rolling, Matt.
That's some soft hands for you, folks, and he didn't have much room to work with. The goaltender went all out. He was going to go with the sweep check and try to end that play before he started. Peters recognized it and brought that puck real close to his feet. Incredible hands. And then the finish was bringing it to his backhand, went cross corner upstairs. That's an amazing goal. And 2-0 Beacons, you mentioned, killed the power play and then tuck one home.
And that's got to hurt for Southern Maine. You didn't have a good power play by any stretch of the imagination, and then compounding an error, if you want to call it that, on your power play by immediately conceding a goal.
That one burned. Sure. What a goal. Wow.
Outstanding goal. Nearly had an outstanding one a couple of minutes before that, but Peters making sure that we have a highlight reel score. His second of the season unassisted. Was again a turnover by Southern Maine in their zone, and then a lot of work to do by Peters. 2 goals, a hat trick of assists, also had 2 assists against Curry. So he has been on fire in the early going, the Fairport, New York native.
Okay, so that's a heck of a way to start your senior year. Is 7 points in 4 games. That's not shabby. I think most coaches will appreciate that.
He certainly will. His plus minus, Matt. I think it's at least 7 now. I think he I don't believe he was on the ice for the first one. But so plus 7 in 4 games. I think so. I think plus 7 is good. 6.5 to go in this opening period is Peters' goal, following up Rollins from the early going. 2-0 Beacon lead. Still tons of hockey to play, but Southern Maine really has not had anything going on best goal for the better part of 10-12 minutes. Had a couple of opportunities early, but the defense has cracked down. That one's held nicely.
And there's just not a lot of room here if you're the Huskies, right? Not only are we defending the whole time, but when we do get possession of the puck, the neutral zone is clogged. And if we even get to the red line, there's usually a defenseman right in my face, which forces me to have to dump it. It's just, there's going to have to be a complete restructuring of the strategy. I'm not seeing much that the Huskies are doing here to even generate offense, let alone create their offense.
2-0, still well within reach, but you're starting to see just how much better the Beacons are. Again, that one's easily closed. Just far too much going at the net right now of Anthony Deloisio and almost nothing at Sam Best down the other end of the ice.
Shots on goal, Best?
If they are, they're the ones that have just been looped down right to him. This one, trying to poke it in. Goaltender goes down again. Sprawled in front of his net. It is cleared.
Give him credit. He tried to draw another penalty. He got one. He's trying to get 2 there. Worked that time.
Oh, hello. So there's a Beacon down at this end of the ice, and then absolutely getting leveled was Andy Walker. Right down on the left, just below us. Did not see what happened off to our right. That was what drew the whistle, not Walker getting hit below us.
Yeah, it was in front of the net, and it was, I want to say, 3 or 4 bodies on both. It's just one of those plays. Traffic in front didn't quite see what happened. Never know. There's that much traffic. It could be so many things. Please, head trainer, speaks out on the ice. Hopefully, something minor.
Trying to get the number on that. Right. 20-something. I got 2. Nope, 28, Skinner.
Getting up on his own. To me, I don't see a shoulder lagging, or to me, that's probably something to the midsection. You get the wind knocked out of you like that, it's pretty tough to deal with. So, fortunately, it'll be all right. Maybe shift 2, and then he'll be back to the ice.
Skinner goes down. Walker got hit just below us, and it's a 2-0 ball game right now, Matt. I'm sure there are some Beacons who saw what happened to Walker just below us. We certainly, it's a game where you see one of your guys go down, oftentimes someone's going to try and get a hit back. You don't want any stupid penalties right now, though.
No, and if you're the Huskies, that's probably what we talked about on the bench, is we're going to have to hit our way out of this, soften up the Beacon team a little bit, because, quite frankly, it's the only thing that's working.
Southern Maine leading in the heavy check category, but that's just about it. Been some strong hits to the board delivered by the Husky players, but physicality has not won the day to this point. It's been strong defensive work and an outstanding goal by Peters. Here's an opportunity, though, for Southern Maine. Gains the zone, centering pass, score! Against the run of play, and it's Desmaris. Zach Desmaris with the goal.
Somewhat predictable, Mason, and that's 2-on-1. The Beacons were really trying to hold that red line and get that puck deep, and they weren't able to do it, and they got caught. No one had any foot speed getting back to the defensive zone. So 2-on-1 is a really nice pass. I'm not sure, but really nice pass on that 2-on-1, and no chance for Best. That's a nightmare if you're Best. You haven't had much action. Next thing you know, you get a 2-on-1, a cross-ice pass. That's upstairs before you can even get there.
Zach Desmarais out of Saint-Cyril, Quebec, with the goal. The true freshman against the run of play, and just like that, Southern Maine is right back in it. What a turn of events. What a crucial 5 minutes here.
Well, that's huge for Southern Maine. I mean, the one scoring opportunity you get, you capitalize. You can't ask for much more than that, and that can get some life back. The team, we're going to get we're going to get a whistle there. There it is. That can really rejuvenate that bench a little bit, get dominated in a period. Next thing you know, you score on 2-on-1, get a little mojo back.
Beacons with it. 4:33 to go in period number 1. Opportunity. Dribbling inside, circles, scores! What patience! And just like that, it's a 2-goal lead again.
Yeah, the senior, Chris Peters, and that's, folks, that's a senior for you. Just outweighted the goaltender. And you can see Delosio had already committed, thought there would certainly be a shot from the slot, and when it didn't come, he was kind of dead to rights. He was scrambling, wasn't able to get to that post, and Peters was able to just tuck that home pretty easily. You want to talk about a hot streak to begin the season. I mean, get this kid the puck.
Outstanding. They talk about hockey being arguably the fastest game. It's so slow for people.
At this point, when you're playing like that and you've got confidence and you're seeing the ice that well, it really does slow down. Ask any player.
And just after Southern Maine gets their goal, almost eerie how they get the power play, do not score, concede. They get their goal, concede. So,
yeah, that's really tough. We just talked about getting some of that momentum on the bench, and then they're right back to a 2-goal deficit.
4 minutes. Southern Maine cannot afford to go down 4-1 into the period break. Similarly, UMass Boston has 4 minutes to make sure they don't give another goal back on a fluky play. It seems like Southern Maine is going to have to rely on almost a defensive mistake. Not that there have been many, but they haven't created their own offense. Been a couple of mistakes by UMass Boston. The only opportunities Southern Maine has had in period number 1. Gaining the zone is Curtis Judd. Judd sends it in front. Best there.
Best getting love on that. Sometimes the player coming down that either side really will try to go off pad, find something off a rebound off the back door. Best was able to snag that with the glove and pull the rebound nice there.
Chris Peters now at +8 on the season.
Bad.
Not bad at all. And this is game number 5. So he is very close to basically being +2 every game he's out. Unbelievable.
That shift there for us. Not surprised Coach Lyles throw his senior line out there.
Get a couple of big bodies out there. Nitkin 6'2".
Call him the line, no walk, but seniors after 630 days off.
Absolutely. Faced off, battled for. Southern Maine trying to keep it in their offensive zone. They do so briefly, but now taken away by the Beacon. Nitkin ducks a couple of defenders. Tries to get the puck centered. It's taken away, and Southern Maine has an opportunity potentially for a 3-on-2. And this one's taken away. A real good opportunity for Southern Maine goes wanting. Flipped in by Bartuccio Pereira. Beacons have it back, 2:45 to go in the first period. Here's an opportunity for a 2-on-1 break. Quick speed, and this one goes off the post. What a save. Delosio off the post.
You got just enough of it.
Incredible speed to gain the zone, leave the defender in the dust, and it was 1-on-1 with the goaltender, and this time the goaltender won.
I'm telling you, Jankowski's around the puck. I mean, that was a great shot. The goaltender just got enough of it to get that off on the post and out, but really like the way 12 was played.
Peters is back in there for the final 2 minutes. Well, he'll be out before then, but he's in there right now just behind the net. Keep your eye on 23 at all times. He's got 2 of the first 3 goals tonight. Here he is again. Moves it to the far side. Shot comes in high from Delosio. And it comes out. That linesman on the far side has been involved in about 5 or 6 plays that have ricocheted off.
Got more saves than Best at this point. No offense, Best. You'll get there.
I don't think Best wants to get there. He's perfectly fine.
It's 3-1 lead. I'll tell you right now, though, mentality-wise, goaltender, that eats away. And you try your best to not let it. You're like, okay, we're up 3-1, but he knows. It's been a slow period. I'm getting zero action, and then of course the one action I get is a 2-on-1 cross ice pass. That's one of the more frustrating aspects of being a goaltender.
They're going to face things off on the far circle in the Beacons attacking zone. 1:57 remains in the opening period. Mason South, Matt Eisenbacher with a 3-1 Beacons lead early. Goals and goals and goals it has been for the Beacons so far this season, and that has not stopped tonight. 3 in the opening 20 minutes, and there's still an opportunity for potentially a 4th.
Play there by Keith. Looks like he was going to get beat, but was able to hit his leg and disrupt that rush.
Roland, who scored the first goal, number 25, is battling in there hard with Brendan Dowler, number 8. And look at that battle. They're still going at it, even at the puck halfway down the ice. Comes back, we play on. Reverse around the board. Another heavy hit. Southern Maine is not holding back on the hit, but they're just being outskated at this point, and Peters is a major reason why. 7 seconds remain. This one out of the zone. They send it back in, but Southern Maine will have it. On the stick of Antoine Guignan. Down to decimals. Inside the final minute. Neither team can afford to give up a goal right here in the closing stages of period number 1. Shifted in nicely by Nitkin. Southern Maine gets it around the boards, and they have it. They don't have the numbers, though, and nice defensive work that time by Ryan Bogan. Beacons trying to get one last attack. Centering pass comes all the way through and is taken away by the Huskies. Trying to get it clear was Pilara for 14 in blue. Comes back around the rear board. 20 seconds to go now. Beacons seem content. Sit on a 3-1 lead. Southern Maine sends it down ice. Is there time for one last attack with 10 seconds? Beacons are perfectly content. Don't want to turn the puck over. Sent in deep. And that should just about do it for the first. 20 minutes in the books. It's 3-1 Beacons. And honestly, outside of the one turnover that leads to the goal, it's about as good as you could ask for in terms of an opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's the start they were looking for. And the thing I like most, there was, me, really one outstanding aspect of that period. I mean, they are reading absolutely everything that Huskies throw them. There's really no time and space. Talk about defense. The first thing to think about is, well, your defensive zone. That's not necessarily the case. I thought they defended well by just forcing Southern Maine to have to defend on their own the entire time. There was nothing left offensively. Majority of that period, they were spending so much time in their defensive zone, and it continued to shift after. The other part I like, they're supporting the puck. And every time a Beacon is looking like they're going to get beat or does get beat, there's another Beacon right there taking time and space away. I think if Coach Lyle, you have to be very satisfied with that. A couple penalties, but, you'll take. The Skinner one was kind of, 50-50, as they say. But ultimately, I thought that was a great period for the Beacons. If I'm the Huskies, I saw one thing I liked well, and that was your hit. Really got a lot of hits and soften up this Beacon if you do that. But they have got to shake it up. They've got to find a way to create more offense. The only way they got that one on the board was a Beacons mistake, as you mentioned. That's just not going to be enough to win this hockey.
Well, it's 3-1 after 20 minutes. If you think back to the last time these two met, it was 9-3 UMass Boston. Multiply this by 3 periods, well, we could have a 9-3 win once again. We take a look at those highlights back from 2020. It was Beacons 9 and Huskies 3.
Lam, she really gets me high. Bam, Lam, you know that's no lie. Bam, Lam, she's so rock steady. Bam, Lam, and she's always ready. Bam, Lam, whoa, Black Betty. Bam, Lam, whoa, Black Betty. Bam, Lam.
A 9-3 victory the last time these two teams met, before we had any idea what COVID-19 was. Better times for sure, but on the road to another similar result, 3-1 after 20 minutes here at the Edward C. Berry Ice Rink in Boston, Massachusetts. Mason South, Matt Meisenbacher on the call. We take a look at those first period stats, and everything favors the Beacons, including the faceoffs. We talked about that. That was important. They are winning everything. They do have a couple of power plays, or just the one power play that the Huskies had, and even that ultimately ended up with a goal on the other end of the ice after the 2 minutes were gone. So the stats kind of tell the story, although they don't always do that, but it was just a dominant first period performance.
A generous 9 shots on goal. Very generous. A goaltender likes that, though. That gets stats up. No, it shows a little bit of one of the things, one of our to the game that we talked about was the face-off circle, and 31, that's a lot for a period, but, you know, anytime you've got two goaltenders who are covering the puck as much, you know, one goalie's doing it by design, the other goalie's doing it because the pucks are being floated in on him, but neither here nor there. When you have that many face-offs in a period, it gives the coaching staff a good idea of who my centers are going to be. Who can I count on if this game does get closer, where offensively, I know who to put out. So I think that's a good thing for Coach Lyle. And ultimately, those centers have got to be pretty happy, winning that faceoff 8.
Beacons in full control through 20 minutes. Hopefully more of the same coming in period number 2. We did have another high-scoring matchup last weekend on the women's side. It was the first ever win as a head coach for Danielle Blanchard in charge of the women's program. It was a 7-1 drubbing of New England College. Let's take a look.
A senior setter and a couple of juniors. This is a team that's going to make on Gustafson, 25 foot, straight. Wheeling around the skating left and right-handed shot. Snap! Spot! Just like that.
And we welcome you back once again. Mason South, Matt Meisenbacher. About 5.5 minutes to go before we drop the puck in period number 2. We take a look around Beaconville. Women's hockey trailing the counterparts of Southern Maine on the women's side. They are in Maine tonight, 1-0 in the third period. Haverford, unfortunately, dispatching your women's volleyball team 3-0 in the first round, the NCAA regional tournament, after your women's volleyball thrillingly won 3-2 in the Little East Conference title game over Eastern Connecticut. They fall, and their season is over after the loss to Haverford 3-0. And then tomorrow, we got men's and women's cross country. The NCAA regionals will take place at Franklin Park. The men will start first at 11 in the morning, and then following that, just an hour later at noon, women's cross country will start their regional race. We also have the NEHC scoreboard. We take a look at that. Babson, the opponents for tomorrow, taking on the team picked to finish bottom of the conference in the NEHC, Johnson and Wales. 1-0 Babson at the end of the first period out there. Norwich in a high-scoring affair against Skidmore, 3-2. They've had 5 goals through the first 20 minutes. No score, New England College and Castleton, and Hobart taking on Buffalo State College out of conference. That is 1-0 at the end of 20 minutes there. We take a look at some highlights from the first period. Matt, we're going to see a lot of Chris.
I mean, what a first period. Goals. 5 shots on goal, +3. For some players, that's a great end of game stat line. He's got 2 more to go. So obviously we've got somebody on power play watch. But, you take a look at this first period and you're going to just see, I'm surprised we were able to find much of anything for these Husky highlights. This is actually a nice face-off play, but they just weren't able to get much going. Then here's this 2-on-1, and I just like the way you see they're going both to the net there, and this is that weird goal right up in the air.
That's Roland. Yep, Roland with the weird fluky flip up in the air off the stake.
Goaltender trying to get that behind the net or in the corner, wasn't able to do it. And then this is like, coming up, you're going to see the patience from Peters.
It's this turnover.
Right here. And just a great read. The hands on that. To be able to do that in a tight area and then backhand, get that out here. Great angle here. Not going to be able to just missed on the finish, but you can see great read on the turnover and then to toe drag around the goaltender, get that upstairs.
Feel bad an opportunity, though, for Southern Maine.
That's just really tough. It's a nice play by the Huskies. That's a great setup on a 2-on-1. And here's the goal I was talking about, the patience from Peters there. You can see the goaltender, D'Alicio. There's overcommit on that. Watch it again here. Just overcommit down already. That puck hasn't even left the blade. Just panicked a little bit, and Peters was able to hang on and tuck that home. And then I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt there, D'Alicio. I think he got some glove on that, but that's my buddy number 12. He had an assist. I didn't get shut out in the first period. Minkauskas did have an assist, folks. So for those keeping track at home, I break even on that, I think?
I think you certainly do.
All right.
As we take a look ahead, we've got a lot of things coming up. It's a busy time of the year, unfortunately. It looks like, for the most part, fall sports might be in the book with volleyball falling tonight. But that means it's winter sports time. We've got men's and women ice hockey galore. We'll have basketball starting up as well. So there's a lot coming here in Beaconville as we get ready. We got about 1:45 to go before we start this second. Matt, we kind of talked about it briefly. Let's kind of go back into the heads of the 2 head coaches. I would expect Coach Belisle is saying, let's do more of the same. We had maybe one silly mistake and it cost us a goal. We cut out that silly mistake. There's no reason why we can't continue to build on the sleeve.
Yeah, and I think there were a few. Don't forget, early in that period, there were turnovers in their own defensive zone that didn't really generate anything in terms of a scoring opportunity, but they were pretty bad. And that's probably a point. As a coach, you never want to go in and say, boy, we played a perfect period, guys. There's nothing I have to critique on. You got to find something. That would be one area if I'm Coach Belisle. Hey, tighten up a little bit on our breakout pass, a little bit more aware. They had a little more awareness. Guys, you're the Huskies, and revamp everything. I wouldn't be surprised if the lines are shaken up. They probably got chewed out pretty good in that period. So shake up the lines a little bit. They've got to defend better. They're leaving their goaltender out a few times there, and it costs them. The goals in the first period is never good. And they got to continue to hit. There were some big hits in that period, and I would expect that to continue. If I'm the Huskies, that's one of the areas where I said, okay, maybe physically we had the edge there in that period. Let's try to build off that, maybe bang some bodies a little bit even harder and generate scoring opportunities off that. But I would expect the Huskies to come out flying here in this second period after what I assume was probably a pretty lively intermission there for them.
You saw that upcoming schedule. We'll be back on the air tomorrow, 4:45. It is Alumni Day here at UMass Boston, and the main course is pretty darn tasty. Babson College, the number 6 team in the land, taking on your UMass Boston Beacons. Puck drop at 4. They will follow that up next week with games against the number 4 team in the land, Hobart, and then Elmira College next Friday and Saturday, 7 o'clock, 4 o'clock, as expected, the times for those two respectively. We are about to get this one underway. Second period action from UMass Boston. It's the Beacons 3 and Southern Maine 1. We switch in, so it's going to be the longer change here in the second period. Mason Stout, Matt Meisenbacher with you on this Friday night from Boston.
Mason, my 40 shots on goal for the Beacons are pretty good. I had, what, 19, 20 in that period?
Yeah, well, at that rate, we're going to far surpass that.
I'm going to be way under.
Beacons winning the face-off. Go right back into the attack. Nicely defended, though, by Southern Maine. And they bring it out of their defensive zone all the way down there by Zach Desmarais, who had the goal for the Huskies in the first period. One back this time by Matthew Saborin. Shot comes in front. Best makes the stave. Centering pass goes wide. Looking for Desmarais on that center. Trying to get it out of the zone. Nice play by the Huskies just to keep it in there on the attack. They are able to make the change. UMass Boston regains control of the puck, and they gain the neutral zone. Now they gain the attacking zone. Opportunity bringing it forward on Cannon. Stick is down on the ground. It's a Beacon stick. It's eventually retrieved by Bordeaux, who heads to the bench. Southern Maine clearing things. Another heavy hit below us, and that is uncomfortable with the icing. We talked about it the last time we were on the air. These near boards are not comfortable when you get checked into them.
Brutal. There's no give. It's just hands go right into the glass. So when you get hit on the near side for us, you better know how to absorb a hit, because if you get caught out with a leg or a shoulder a little bit, boy, get pretty nasty.
Offensive zone face-off. Trying to win that one, Andy Walker. He tries to retrieve it himself. This one eventually comes out for Ryan Rowland, who did get a goal in that first period. Flipped up high off of a skate and eventually found its way into the back of the cage somehow. Kept in there nicely by Skinner. Skinner went down hard, but he's back in the game. Skinner shifted behind, tries the centering pass. It only comes out to the middle, where it's tracked down by Marini, and it's eventually cleared by the Huskies. Looping in deep, Adam Withers. Withers gives chase, has a teammate there as well. Southern Maine trying to center the puck. Nicely cleared that time by Ryan Bogan, the two Ryans forming the first line defense. They're doing a good job once again tonight. Not a good pass, and it's an opportunity on the breakaway. Score! Brendan Dowler. And just like that, it's 3-2. And again, it's a mistake on the original pass, and just like that, 5 seconds later, if that, it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, that is a terrible play. The turnover on the rush, and then the freshman defenseman, Pat Keegan, he's so focused on the rush, he lets someone get behind him, and there was just no chance at the breakaway with plenty of time. Best wasn't able to come up with it on the glove side. That's a bad turnover for the Beacons, and a freshman defenseman getting caught out of position. A recipe for disaster. Got a 3-2 hockey game.
Biggest player on the ice, 6'4", Brendan Dowler, the senior from New Preston, Connecticut. And once again, despite being absolutely dominated in this game, Southern Maine is right there. Don't you just love this sport?
They're 2 for 2 on scoring opportunities. And I'll tell you what, if you're the Beacons, you're letting them hang around. This is what we talked about in the pregame. Now, plenty of time here. There's so much hockey left, but you're really, what feels like dominating a hockey game. But according to the scoreboard, you got a 1-goal game, and this is exactly, if you're the Huskies, exactly where you want to be.
Now, the last time that the Huskies had this happen, they conceded very quickly. Cannot allow that to happen again. It's kept in the zone nicely by the Beacons. Shot comes in wide just from that right point. Southern Maine is able to get it clear, directed right back in there. Delezio, alert to it, moves it to his left, whipped around the board, kept there nicely by Pat Keegan. Beacon's trying to go right back on the attack, no icing. Comes back out top. Southern Maine looking for a change, but they're not allowed to get one.
Beacons with an advantage. So Beacons have a line change. The Huskies have not. They're tired.
This one centered in front. Opportunity. Delezio making the glove save and eventually raises it. There were about 2-3 opportunities. It looked like someone had to poke it home, but it's held by the goaltender again.
Boy had a couple whacks at that. It wasn't able to get there, and that's the opportunity I was looking for. You see the Beacons on that change came rushing into the zone. They knew we've got them pinned. We can get something here, and the Huskies talk about bend but don't break. I mean, that puck was in the blue paint for a while. At least two, maybe banging away at it. Weren't able to get it home. A little bit of an equipment issue here. Close to go. He's all right.
Big two very different days for the goaltenders.
Yes.
One who has been basically left on an island and then unfortunately hung out to dry twice, and the other one that's been under nonstop attack.
Such a tough night for both of them. One, like you said, complete duress, and the other who's just looking for some activity. And every time you get one, it's a 2-on-1, a breakaway. You can't do anything or much of anything with those.
Centering pass gets all the way through. Shot comes in from the point, and it is saved nicely by the original shot from Kropinski, and Delezio was there once again. That glove is getting worked in well. He has held everything, it really feels like, in the first 25-plus minutes.
And definitely by design, too. I'm sure that was discussed in the pregame is, hey, we know this team likes to, really generate a lot of offense. Anytime we get a chance to freeze that puck, we've got to do it.
Another offensive zone faceoff. Corey Clifton out there on the right side. One of the smallest players out there, 5'9", number 10. Loses the faceoff that time to the Husky opposition. Flipped down ice, but kept in nicely. Good job defending. Coming back for Pinski, but it does eventually get out of the zone. Beacons have it back. Whipped around the far board. Battling for it, Owen Bordeaux. Comes back around the net. Beacons have it back. Have an opportunity. 2-on-3. No offside, and another nice hold by Delezio.
Rebound again. Solid. Good rush there by the that puck's zipping around pretty good. Something's going on with Delezio. This strap coming off.
Giving his team an opportunity to just get a breather.
And that's why I'm looking to see, is the strap really off, or is he just kind of making it up a little bit to try and get some extra rest? Quite honestly, these Huskies, this is more of what we saw in the first period of really like defending, and not really being able to generate anything offensively.
Dowler, the most recent Husky goal scorer, wins the face-off. It's squirted in deep, and it's an icing. As Kropinski chased it down, get rolling, come back together.
Good night to the center for a Beacon, because the way that this amount of face-off really get creative with what you want to run. See it here. Clifton talking with his wingers. What do we want to run? You can really run the whole playbook tonight. Not to say they've dominated in the face-off circle, but there's been so many. Might as well try to get a little creative in there.
And I know in the pregame we said let's not look forward to tomorrow, but we're the broadcast. We can look forward to
That's
tomorrow.
right.
And how important the face-offs are going to be tomorrow, and the fact that if you're going to get 50 of them tonight,
right,
that's a good advantage that you're going to have going into tomorrow, where you're going to have to win the face-off battle to win the game.
And it's very hard to replicate game face-offs in practice. You can practice face-offs, but very, very difficult to replicate what you get in game. And so it's a great point, Mason. Tonight, for the coaching staff and for the centers, really a great test to see what's working, what's not.
Good heavy check there defensively by the Beacons, trying to get it out of the zone. Southern Maine looking for the equalizer somehow. It's 3-2. Beacons with the lead. They have been much the better team, but the scoreboard shows otherwise. A nice save by Delezio. Was started going one way, but was able to get that right pad out there, get the leg out, and kick it up into the net.
I like that shot by Clifton. That's short side, blocker side. Goaltender's really, a lot of times you're thinking glove side there. Clifton goes short, and a good save by Delezio. Able to not only make the save, get it up to the webbing, but from that angle, I'm not quite sure how he was.
Looked like he was favoring glove side, but was able to get the leg out to make the stop. Southern Maine has won the majority of the faceoffs in the second period. This one nearly got in front, centering pass. Knocked down. Beacons have it. Shifted back in by Walker. Now pinned up against the boards are the Beacons. It comes out. Southern Maine is able to clear the zone. Looking for that line change. Again, they are really having to go with these very long lines before they can get a shot. This one comes in from distance by Skinner. It's shifted away. And
Great
out of
shot.
nothing,
Andy Walker.
Walker.
Great shot. Great shot. A little bit of a broken play there. Beacons from behind the net. And I think it's probably going to be Nick into Skinner with Andy Walker receiving that goal in the slot and was able to just wrist it blocker side high. And again, we've seen this from this line before. They like to work behind the net. And you can see it here, folks. That goaltender, that's tough for Delicio to be able to look behind. And the next thing you know, you got a guy in the slot who's just winding up. Looking at the bench. No goalie change quite yet. I guess still a 2-goal game. But, I mean, the amount of work, I'm not saying the way he's playing, but the amount of work and the amount of shots he's facing, it's just, I don't know if you plan on starting him tomorrow. That's a lot of rubber in a 24-hour period. So something to be cognizant about.
Andy Walker with the goal. We have traded goals. The last 4 have come on either side. Mass Boston restoring their 2-goal advantage on Walker's first of the season.
Power play, Mason. I didn't quite see the penalty, but
I did not either.
It's a big power.
So 2 minutes and an opportunity for UMass Boston to make it a 5-2 game and restore what originally was a 3-goal lead early.
Yeah, big moment here for both. Power play a lot to both sides. The Beacons doing the breakout here. They have a that they run. Not too much distance on that. Not
getting the zone. Beacons, shot comes in. Shot comes in on the backhand. Cage somehow stays on its mooring. My apologies. It would be the first 3-goal lead of the day for UMass Boston. They have the man advantage for another 60 seconds. Patiently working it around the point. Moving it out to the left. They circle it back in deep. Retrieving Alex Duncan. Duncan brings it back onto his stick. Whirls around, does a couple of 3-6. This one will eventually get past the Beacon at the point. All the way back in. 34 seconds remain on the 2-minute man advantage. Beacons gain the zone. Shot comes in from distance. Another save by Deloisio just back behind the cage. Moving to the left. Waiting for it. Now moving it to his right, Roland. Roland has it back now. Moves it inside. 16 seconds remain on the power play. Roland. Skips the man. Shot comes in. Trying to shift it into the middle for the one-time shot. This one comes in wide from Roland. 5 seconds remain on the power play. Beacons in full control right now. Can they get one last look at it with the man advantage? This one comes in at the weak side.
Hitter was fortunate there. That puck looked like it's going to be a breakout pass. Roland was there to stop.
This one goes high. We're back to full strength. Neither team converting on any power plays. This one should be an icing, and it
good power play. Weren't able to score, but I thought possessed very well, and we're moving pucks around, got the scoring opportunity. I think you're satisfied there, Coach Lyle, with what you saw and what line he's going to put out. Got a tired, us still haven't changed, still the penalty kill unit. Peters obviously takes the draw.
You almost get the feeling that Southern Maine knows that they have one line that can keep them in this game, and they're leaving them out there because that's their only hope of staying in this hockey.
Yeah, and physicality, maybe they're nice back Peters for the hat, but physicality they hasn't been as much as I expected. I thought the more hits point. There was a good opportunity. Got a forward face down in the corner, and no real activity. They might be tired. I don't know. They still look.
Benkauskas was trying to reverse it. Southern Maine has had this line out there for the better part of 2.5 minutes. This one comes in on the backhand, trying to go top shelf Ryan Bogan. It's still in there. UMass Boston is just pinning Southern Maine deep. There is nothing that the Huskies can do to get out of their zone. And it still remains in there.
Oh, really?
That is about as unlucky a whistle as you're going to get. Southern Maine. Southern Maine catches a break and finally can make the change.
I don't know. High stick there? What do you think?
I didn't see it at all.
Right on the blue, he called a D-man. He called Bogan on a high stick.
Well, sympathy.
That one's for free, I suppose.
That is a sympathetic call for guys that have been on the ice for a very long period of time.
That had close to
hockey shift should not be 3 minutes. 30 seconds to 45 max, not 3 minutes. But that's just the game that Southern Maine has been forced to play. They have kept themselves alive. In many ways, say Southern Maine has been kept alive by a couple of mistakes made by UMass Boston that Southern Maine, credit to them, has capitalized on.
They got a penalty here.
A heavy hit on these near boards just below us.
Called, I think, on an elbow.
So an opportunity with a man advantage. Goaltender comes to the bench. Southern Maine will now get the 2 minutes.
Hanging around. This is what we talked about, right?
What a big 2 minutes.
I would actually, if I'm the Huskies, potentially think about the timeout here. Halfway through the hockey game, still only 2 goals. Depending on who my power, sometimes you'll have the penalty kill guys are also the power play guys, depending on the team and the depth. Team's confident. I don't think we're going to get a timeout here. Huge opportunity for the Huskies. Been dominated in the first period, been dominating here in the second period. You're still in this hockey, and if you get one here, boy, you start planting that seed in the Beacon's head that these guys aren't going to go away.
Jeff Pilara on the face-off for Southern Maine. It's won back by the Beacons and whipped down ice. Long run in there, trying to battle for it. Ben Kauskas trying to cause some trouble and just take a couple of more seconds off the clock. Minute 42 remains on the power play. Beacons make the sub and now can go back into the killing. Opportunity in front. Good stick play. It's kept alive by the official, it looks like, inside the Husky zone. Huskies trying to get back on the attack. If this get outside that blue line, they'll have to reset things. Nicely done, though, by Southern Maine, keeping it in there, but even better by the Beacons, knocking it down ice.
Whistle here, looks like another penalty.
See who this one's on.
Down the Huskies.
And just like that, their man advantage is wiped off the board, and we will have 4-on-4 hockey.
Didn't see it. It's going to be Dowler on a high stick. Didn't see the play, but that's it. Boy, that is tough. Husky fan. Your opportunity now, 4-on-4. Yes. Depending on if you got some players, 4-on-4 more ice. You got a player that maybe can utilize that. It's not the end of the world, but
I think the player that would probably utilize it is Dowler. He's sitting in the box.
He's got big penalties, so that doesn't work.
So there's a minute, now 10 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey. Depending on what happens in that minute and 10 seconds, the Beacons will then have a man advantage for the better part of 45 seconds. This one comes in from distance, blocked in front of the net, where Best, again, has really just not been involved in this second period outside of the one time he had to pick it out of his net.
So tough for goaltender to be that inactive. I mean, it's just very hard to stay both mentally and physically in the game when you're facing a little rubber.
This one gets out of the zone. Opportunity 1-on-2, but you like your advantage. This one nearly tripped up, kept alive. Good job keeping his feet. Peters, he's just so good on his skate. This one flipped high. 30 seconds remain on the 4-on-4. Bringing out of the zone, trying to reverse it. Adam Withers, he nearly turns it over. Beacons on the forecheck again, and they turn it over. Here's an opportunity, 2-on-1. Nice defensive work to force him around the cage. And Southern Maine is able to get it clear.
Walk, lost the puck there. Got a 2-on-1 in front, was able to corral it.
10 seconds remain on 4-on-4. Peters out on the right side. Trying to move it to his right, and he eventually just resets things as now they will have a power play for the next 45 seconds.
Smart senior play. Didn't have anything offensively. Let's control the puck, utilize what we have left on this power play. I like
2-on-3 hockey right now inside the attack zone for UMass Boston. Reverse pass, picks out Ryan Rowland. Rowland around the net. Try to pick out Nitkin. Nitkin's battling for it. Southern Maine looking to clear with 23 seconds left to kill on their penalty. Beacon reversing it again. Nice work. Nitkin trying to get it in front of the net. 12 seconds remain. Had essentially 2 minutes and 45 seconds of power play, and I can't remember either goaltender being involved. Power play is over, but the Beacons are back on the attack. 2-on-4 and turned over. Back onto the stick of Brendan Dowler. Dowler, who's out of the box now, immediately gets hit in front. Got that big 6'4" frame, trying to make things difficult for Best out in front. This one goes behind. Dowler tracks it down. Sends it back out to the point, Matt Fuller. Fuller sends it in deep. This one takes a deflection in front. Dowler trying to finish it. Best is down. We're still playing on, and now the whistle sounds. And it's Best who freezes it.
This is how you've seen hockey games like this, and we talked about the Huskies hanging around. Here's just a simple dump in from the blue line, and somehow hits off the stanchion, goes right to the front of the net. And that's absolute scramble mode for Best. Now, he was able to get there, but this is one of those nights, man. Sometimes as a goaltender, you can't get to a rhythm, you can't get to a routine, and you're going to have to scramble tonight. And I give him credit. There's another, difficult play in front of his net. He was able to get there. He's not losing himself in this hockey game and getting into a trance. And that's good to see.
See this too often, Matt. Almost every single time you have a big game on the second game of a back-to-back, the first game ends up being ugly, weird, crazy things happen, and at the end of the day, it ends up being a fun hockey game for a broadcaster, but really painful for a player.
And the coach.
Always difficult for a coaching staff.
No matter what.
4-2, the Beacons lead. Under 7 minutes now to play in the second period. Mason Stauf and Matt Meisenbacher on the Little East Conference Digital Network. On ice. Come down to the far end of the ice. Both teams will get a quick breather.
You got an icing call. Somewhat tired Husky. Need a center to win a draw and get them off. You can feel it. The confidence is still there, but you don't have that same momentum you had for the first half of this hockey.
The next goal will make this one either 5-2 or 4-3. I can't think of two more different scores than that. Beacons trying to maintain possession of the puck. Southern Maine trying to clear it. This one whipped in. It's going to be another offensive zone face-off for UMass Boston.
The Huskies starting to get a little more confident themselves. Earlier in this hockey, those blue lines were wide open. He was firing pucks really at will, whatever they wanted to do. And now there's Huskies a little harder. It's not as big of a lane, right? So what happened? It's a 4-2 game again. They've really felt like they've dominated from the get-go, but the only thing that matters is what's on that scoreboard. 2-goal hockey. The way you shake.
Peters is still on a hat trick for UMass Boston. 2 outstanding goals in the first period, and he's looking to be involved here in the second. Not out there at the moment. Taken away by Skinner. Skinner sends it down ice. Tracking it down is number 23, Maverick Line for Southern Maine. This one nearly turned over, and it is turned over to Skinner. Skinner, centering pass. Nearly took a deflection and even went in off of Deloisio. But he keeps it alive. We play on as this one is whipped down into the corner. Like trickles down into the corner where it's retrieved by Joe Petrozella, number 6 in white. Still with Southern Maine, though. Centering pass in front, nearly an opportunity. Should have been taken. And instead it was a swing and a miss. Still there for the Huskies as they get an opportunity for an extended attack in their offensive zone. Trying to keep this one in. Nicely done that time by Nick Knoll. Knoll back behind the goal. Shot comes out in front, or the pass comes out in front. Nicely covered by Best, who was alert to it.
Beacon's not skating. That was first time I've seen it in their own defensive zone. A lot of standing around.
Sluggish?
Yeah, I think so. A little bit. And I think if you're Coach Lyle, you've got to find a line that still has some juice here. Could be fatigue, if a line maybe was double shifted there, but you've got to find a little bit better effort than that. That was way too much standing around the defensive zone. Huskies, you can kind of feel it. Getting a little bit of momentum in this game.
For a team that has a 2-goal lead, this is a very frustrating hockey game for UMass Boston. But that's sometimes how you gotta win. Oftentimes how you have to win. Doesn't always come easy. Not in this conference, that's for darn sure. Southern Maine back under the attack again. It's very different in this second period, particularly over the last 5-10 minutes from the Huskies, who look like a very different team than they did in the first.
And the first time they put a couple shifts together, right? This is the second or third shift where they've kind of had the beak hand and test, a little bit of an opportunity here.
There's your guy, Benkowskis, who, when he gets on his high horse and books it down ice, he is about the fastest guy out there. Tripped up his own motor. Took a spill that time, but it's still there for UMass Boston. Bogan, centering pass, trying to pick out a nice play of Peters, who still sits on 2 goals today. It comes down ice. Best is going to have to shuttle this one behind. Both teams make their changes. One whipped in deep. No icing. Deloisio overshoots his defender. McCoy keeps it alive. Now McCoy pinning up against the board with Gerstrom. Gerstrom still battling with McCoy. This one comes out to the point. Moving it to the left. Bogan. Shot comes in from distance. Traffic in front. There it is.
Great shift.
Gino Carabelli.
Yep, right in front. And that play has worked a lot for the Beacons tonight. That's going to be his first collegiate goal.
Had an assist against UMass Dartmouth, and now getting a goal in there, and Deloisio is talking to the official.
Hang on, yeah, 1 second, maybe a high stick, and I don't. It's already over. Never mind. Continue with what you were saying.
No, I was going to say Deloisio was not happy. There was a lot of traffic right in front of him.
Right.
And it just fell down to Gino Carabelli, who puts it home. Now has a goal and an assist in his collegiate career.
It's at least the second time that play has worked. On the second goal, it was blocker side, and the rebound wasn't controlled by Alicio. Ended up in the back of the net. This time he does make the save, but the puck, again, right in the crease. He wasn't able to deflect that behind or away from him. And you end up giving up a goal. 5-2. Huge goal for the Beacons there. Huge.
5-2. Suddenly you see a little bit of daylight between these two teams on the scoreboard for the first time. The Beacons have a 3-goal advantage. They have scored the last 2 unanswered.
Congrats to Carabelli. First collegiate goal. I'm sure his parents are tuned in. Congratulations. Always a good feeling. Doesn't get much easier than that, though, right? Puck lane in the blue paint. You can slap it as hard as you want. You're not going to miss the net.
This one gloved nicely. Carabelli from Shelby Township, Michigan.
And I thought that was a great shift by the McCoy line. I really did. I was looking for that, you know, who Coach Blau was going to put out there, because you kind of feel it was starting to slip away a little bit from his team there. He needed to find a line that was going to generate some offense and generate a little bit of mojo for his team. He's able to do that, and fortunately, was able to score on it as well.
We talked about it, Matt, early going. This is a Beacons team that could be 4-0 right now. They
Absolutely.
really could be. They're 2-1-1. You got the disappointing loss against Hurry. You
Didn't
have the
show
game
up.
against
Yep.
Norwich, where you absolutely had that one in the bag, and you let it slip in the final minute change. So this is a team that really could be 4-0 on its way to 5-0 going into this game tomorrow. But you see a lot of potential, and you talked about it. Throw those preseason rankings out the window. This Beacons team, particularly on the offensive side of the puck, is something to contend with.
Without a doubt. And you can see it's not one or two lines that they get their scoring from. I mean, we've mentioned so many different names that have been in and around the puck creating offense. I like what you said. I think this team is going to be a force, and probably, I'm willing to say, a top 10 offense in terms of goals per game. I mean, here we are. It's already the second period. They put in 5 already. Offensively, not too much to worry about. I still think things I want to tighten up defensively, and with Best, I mean, verdict's still out, right? I mean, he played well enough, don't get me wrong. He's not nothing against him, but hasn't really truly been tested.
Well, we'll certainly see him tested tomorrow. Babson is a very different team than the University of Southern Maine, but this is now 20 goals scored by UMass Boston through their first 4 games, and now the better part of 2 periods of action. Not bad at all. Taking this one, Polye Benkowskis, who is still waiting to get on that first. He's been involved just about every part of his hockey outside of the assist and goal column.
Good on draws. Won that one.
Went all the way back. Southern Maine taking it back. Really need to find something. Got to get a goal in the next 2.5 minutes. Here's an opportunity to get it. Out of nothing again. I think it's Dowler.
We might get a goalie change here.
That's Dowler's second. What a crazy game.
See, I don't know. Nothing against Best, but can't allow Southern Maine to continue to get back to this hockey.
I can't remember.
And it's not his fault. And that's a
It's
turnover in the defensive zone. It's another breakaway coming down glove side. It beats you. It's just one of those nights. Hard to get into a rhythm.
I wish there was a stat for clear-cut chances created, because Southern Maine has 3 clear-cut chances. They have scored 3 goals off.
Yes, 100%. And unfortunately, welcome to the life of being a goaltender, none of which fault Best on, but yeah, I see from the coaching staff, every time it feels as though every time they start to pull away, they give up another goal. You can't yank your defenseman or your forward. Looks like he's staying in the game for now, but here's another chance.
Can he make it 5-4? This one goes off. Beautifully gloved on the right side.
Big save. Good for him. Big save.
Huge save from Best on a streaking Matthew Sabaron. This one is held. Boy, the twists and turns that this game has taken out of absolutely nothing.
Well, you said it. That is literally how Southern Maine has stayed in this hockey game. Is every time, except that last one, good save by Best, blocker side, way to respond. But before that, it was 3 for 3. Every scoring opportunity they got, they buried. And that's just, that statistically isn't supposed to happen, but yet here we are.
And it certainly can't happen tomorrow. You can't give away these opportunities to Babson, because if you think Southern Maine's going to take care of those chances, Babson's going to punish you even more so.
Nice block.
Beautifully blocked in front. Good job that time by Michael Krapinski, getting his body in the way. That does not feel comfortable. That ice-hard piece of rubber coming right at your body. This one centering pass blocked in front. It's still back there for Southern Maine. Through again. Nice save in front of the net by Beth.
Good response. There. That's 3 now after up that third goal where he doesn't look rattled. And that's something you want to check on right away as a goaltender. Is still mentally in this game, and I absolutely.
He played his original college hockey at the D1 level for a reason. Beth showing up over the last couple of minutes after conceding that third goal. Not really any fault of his own. No, but keeping his head in there, as you need to do in that position. You were in there time and time again, Matt, throughout your hockey career. It is a lonely position back there, and the things that go through a goaltender's head are something that nobody else on the ice, and certainly not us up in the box, or me up in the box, can probably describe.
It's a scary place. I don't take many people there to the mind of a goaltender. It's dark, it's creepy, it's weird.
And he's still not taking me there. 60 seconds to go. Opportunity. Can either team create one last look in the final 48 seconds of period number 2? Brendan Dowler, who's got 2 today. Boy, has he been on fire. The biggest guy out there at 6'4". He's dealt hits, he's delivered goals, and just like that, it looks like he's going to head back to the box.
An interference call. That's really tough, man. If you're the Huskies, 37 seconds left in the period. Get it back to a 2-goal deficit. Now you give the Beacons a chance to feel a little bit better about themselves going into this start. This is a crucial 37 seconds here for both teams.
Brendan Dowler has certainly made his mark on this. That's his second penalty. He's got 2 goals.
Said his name a lot.
And he's 6'4", so he's delivered just about as many hits as anybody, if not more.
Without a doubt. 37 seconds here. So if you're the Huskies, got to try to kill this off quickly and as efficiently as possible. And if you're the Beacons, I would expect to try to generate 2, maybe scoring opportunities.
Bordeaux trying to face things off for UMass Boston. They keep it alive deep in their own attack zone. This one makes its way out to the point. Shot comes in from distance. Try to go on the backhand on the play by Duncan. 25 seconds remain in the period. Beacons keep it alive. Can they get it back out to the point? They can. Shot comes in from behind. Trying to center it in front. Nicely done by Deloisio. Makes its way out Petrozella. Petrozella waiting patiently. Shot comes in. Nicely deflected away by Deloisio again. Southern Maine just got to get this one down ice. They do. But with only 7 seconds left, is there one last look at the goal for UMass Boston? Shot comes in. Centering pass. Backhanded shot. And is cleared. And that will do it for period number 2. Lots of chaos at the end. But it's as you were from the end of the first period. It was a 2-goal lead. It remains a 2-goal lead.
I really liked what I saw there from Aloisio. I mean, that was under duress. Beacons were throwing what they had at him, and he intercepted a pass that was going to the slot, which I thought probably doesn't get credit for a save there, but I thought that was his smartest play, and then probably made 2 saves there at the end of the period. This has been a strange game. In every way, shape, or form.
Oh, yeah.
Beacons have dominated. Okay, possess the puck, generate far more scoring opportunities, defended fairly well, and they've skated and moved the puck better than the Huskies. However, none of that gets the point. And it's 5-3, 2-goal hockey. And if I'm Southern Maine, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, we have not played. I wouldn't think their best hockey here, and yet we're in this road. And so this is going to be a very interesting third period. I would expect the Beacons to stay with best. I don't yank him. I know it's probably been discussed. I don't any of those goals being his fault. So I stay with best, and I've had a strong conversation with my defense, because every time there's a turnover, this team is going to score. We've got to lock it down defensively. Offensively, we're good. Not going to change too much, but defensively, we've got to be way more aware of what's going on in the neutral zone and in our defensive zone, because we've gotten caught twice now, and then we had a defensive mishap from Bogan that ended up in the back of their net. So I think that's the main point for the Beacons. And for the Huskies, I guess the mantra is going to be bend but don't break. Continue to allow our goaltender to see these pucks. He's done a good job with his rebounds, and when we get a scoring opportunity, we have to capture.
It's 5-3, 40 minutes gone in this one. It's been crazy. The Beacons will still have 1:23 remaining on the power play when we come back for third period action. Well, unfortunately, the volleyball season did end tonight, but we do want to bring you the highlights from their incredible 3-2 LEC championship victory over Eastern Connecticut at home last weekend. Let's take a peek.
With a senior setter and a couple of juniors. This is a team that's going to be comments for history.
If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The camera's here and the microphones. If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The crowd is here and the lights are on, and I wanna show.
A fresh, cool young Lou, trying to cash his microphone check 212. Wanna believe my own hype, but it's too untrue. The world brought me to my knees. What have you brung you? Did you improve on the design? Did you do something new? Where you naming on the guest list? Who brung you? You, the more famous person, you come through, and the sexy lady next to you, you come too. And then the hitman standing outside of heaven, waiting for God to come and get me. I'm too uncouth, unschooled to the rules, and too gumshoe. Too much of a newcomer and too uncool, like Shadow in the Veil. I battle with it well, though I need a holiday like Lady Who's on Blue. Go back, whatever you did, you undo. Heavy as heaven, the devil on the 2 times 2.
You say you are a superstar, then have no fear. The camera's here and the microphones, and they
And you better wear your shades. Spotlights here can burn holes through the stage. Down through the basement, past the Indian graves where the dinosaurs laid. And out through China, nearly misses airliners magnified times 5. This is pointed at the llama, ricochets off the moon and Central Forest blade. And that's important to say, cause even with all that, most of us don't want it to fade. We wanted to break, meaning we wanted to grow, meaning we wanted to stay. Like the governor called and he told him to wait. Unstrapped him from the chair and put him back in his cage. The audience ain't phased, and they ain't gon' clap, and they ain't gon' praise. They want everything back that they paid, cause they been waiting since 10 to see the lights get bright.
what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The crowd is here and the lights are on,
They told me all of the tickets were gone, so just take me home when the mood is mellow, when the roses are thrown and the lemons are yellow, when the light bulbs around my mirror don't flicker. Everybody gets a nice autograph picture. One for you and one for your sister who had to work tonight but is an avid listener. Every song's a favorite song and likes don't feedback. All the reviewers say you need to go and see that. And everybody comes cause everybody is pleased, and then they all take the stage and start performing for me. Like ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. If you are what you say you are, a superstar, then have no fear. The camera's here and the microphones and the if you are what you say you are, a superstar.
Service, it's a good one. Can they get it over the two? Rogel goes quickly.
What you say?
And we welcome you back. Second intermission. It's been the longest period of time, probably because the players aren't out there between goals, Matt. But what a spooky game of hockey we had.
Really strange. We just talked about the shots on goal, 46-8. That's something you see it. Maybe I'm trying to think where that type of discrepancy happens. It's not normal, but yet still 5-3. And I think for me, as I think about it, the 46 shots doesn't really. I probably wouldn't guess if I didn't have a stat in front of me. I don't think I'd guess 46. It doesn't feel like they're bombarding the goaltender.
No, it doesn't.
In terms of scoring opportunities, maybe in terms of shots, obviously they are. But in terms of what they've generated offensively, yes, there's been plenty, but not with 46 shots on goal. You would probably expect, I don't know, 6, 7 goals, a few more than what they have now.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of those stats, because they were, it's as lopsided a game outside of the scoreboard as you'll ever see.
Based off.
Absolutely insane. The power plays haven't been the story, although the Beacons will still have another minute 23 on this. But 24-9 as far as the second period in terms of shots. And at the end of the day, it's the same exact score differential that we saw at the end of the first.
Right.
We were talking about it, and I know you have the unique perspective of being a goaltender. There is nothing to describe, unless you are a goaltender, the day that best had.
It's incredibly frustrating. I can't stress it enough. Most goaltenders will tell you they like to get into a rhythm. It's a lot like a quarterback in football. They like to have a certain flow to the game and not sitting there and acting, right? You're away as a goaltender, you're not in the play as frequently as you'd like. It becomes more of a mental game of staying focused, staying locked in, because eventually it's coming. And you got to be ready when you get called upon. And so for Best, that's never happened. Now, the first goal, okay, you're thinking, all right, slow start for the Huskies. Then the second goal, another breakdown, breakaway, glove side, beat me. Okay, and then the third goal, same deal. Defensive breakdown, breakaway, glove side. Never has he had shots from the blue line or, shots distance that he can just get a feel for the game. And so statistically, it's a nightmare night. Now, he has made some good saves. I thought he rebounded well after giving up that third goal. He had the blocker save, which I thought was good, and then 2 in front. But boy, I just feel for him because here's a game very winnable, and the coaching staff is thinking, we got to, is this kid locked in tonight? Do we have a goaltending problem? Not at all. It's just one of those things where you can't get into a game when you're not facing any action, and he's done the best that he can. I wouldn't fault him for any of the goals.
Let's take a look around Beaconville. As always, it is a very active night. Unfortunately, the women's hockey team in a very different game to the one we have here on the men's side, falling in a 1-0 heartbreaker. Southern Maine scoring early and holding on to that 1-0 game. They ended up winning it by that scoreline. And after 8 goals through the first 40 minutes, very different on the women's side. Unfortunately, it is all she wrote for the women's volleyball team here in 21. An outstanding season, particularly toward the end, as they race to grab the number 2 seed in the conference tournament, end up winning it in that absolute thrilling match that you saw highlights from earlier in this intermission, 3-2 over Eastern Connecticut. But their season does come to an end with a 3-0 sweep up at MIT tonight against Haverford College. Tomorrow, we have NCAA regionals at Franklin Park for both men's and women's cross country. The men's race starting at 11 in the morning, the women's to follow at noon. Let's also take a look at the NEHC scoreboard. As always, busy night, Fridays and Saturdays. Babson, they are cruising against Johnson and Wales, 5-0. That will be the matchup tomorrow for Alumni Day. Beacons and Babson take their puck drop just past 4 o'clock. Norwich has dropped a spot since their draw against UMass Boston. They're now the number 2 team in the land, and they are up 4-2 against Skidmore after 2. New England College leads 1-0 over Castleton at the end of the second period there, and Hobart out of conference 4-1 leaders over Buffalo State. Let's take a look at some second period highlights. It has not been a game that's been wanting of action and certainly not wanting of goals. It's been crazy, but in terms of the highlights, plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I think we spent a lot of time talking about Best. We'll go down the other side. This is the breakaway. Dowler really ripped that shot. That angle doesn't just might be able to see here. Yeah, he really lets that fly. I mean, that's a tough save for any goaltender, glove side, but Beacons were able to respond. This is kind of what you're going to the majority of the period is the Beacons, I would say around 15 feet, right around the front of the net. And if you drop the pin and drew a radius, where they're really finding a lot of action to hit the corner there. But you'll see, I mean, with the amount of shots that they've generated, there's only been a handful that have really truly tested Deloisio. And you can see, as a smaller goaltender, he's very quick, very agile. He's done a good job with his rebound.
And it's been a very different first 20 minutes to the second 20 minutes. The first 20 minutes was all UMass Boston. The only thing that Southern Maine really had was basically smashing Beacons into the board as hard as they could. They really got off of the check into that second period. They had a little bit more control. The plays that they made were a little bit less physical, a little bit more skill-based. There it is. At the end of the day, they still find themselves down 2 goals going to the third.
Yep, great point. And I think part of that, Beacons stopped skating there. We saw that in the defensive zone. They were looking
best on a streaking
I don't know if I call it laziness, but just getting away from what was driving success, them skating the puck out and joining multiple people on the rush. And I didn't see that for, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 minutes straight there where Southern Maine rather was able to climb back and hockey. Again, we said it, this really could end up, if the Huskies kill off the minute 23 left on the Beacon power play. They can kill that off, find a way to make this a 1-goal game late. This could really end up pretty poorly for the Beacons, but they're still in control. They can't let it slip any further.
They certainly can. As we take a look at what's coming up, we join you again tomorrow at 3:45 for Babson and UMass Boston. It is Alumni Day, so a big day for you, Matt. You'll see some old friends and colleagues as well.
Some of them here right now. Although no, it's intermission, so they're probably checking what's in the trunk of their car.
I was going to say that, or they are trying to march their way into the locker room to spark a fire and just say, "Come on, guys."
Could be.
This wouldn't have flown in my day.
Correct.
And then next week you get Hobart. Babson, the number 6 team in the land. Hobart is number 4 right now, and we saw that they are up in their matchup tonight. And then it's Elmira next Saturday, 7 o'clock and 4 o'clock, as it always should be during conference play. So big games coming up, and we talked about it, Matt. You couldn't overlook this game. I wouldn't say that the Beacons have by any stretch of the imagination, but the mistakes that have been made are ones that the areas of the ice that they have been made, the result of the turnover is certain cannot happen tomorrow.
And you're facing a statistical anomaly, right? To my knowledge, 4 grade A scoring opportunities by the Huskies, 3 of which have ended up back to net. I mean, in terms of the scoring opportunities for the Beacons, of the 46 shots on goal, they probably conservatively 15, 20 maybe.
Easy, yeah.
And they've got 5. So statistically, it's weird that way. But best good to see leading out of the locker room. That's coming back to third. I'm glad to see that. But just been a strange game. And for this third period here, this minute 23 is so critical for both teams because, again, you get that 3-goal, the difference between a 3-goal and a 2-goal lead is so vast. If they can make this 6-3, they're going to feel pretty good. And if the Huskies kill this off, they've got a little bit of mojo themselves coming into this third. So we're in for a ride.
Going to be a fun third period, that's for sure. As the camera has panned back and forth across the ice, you may have seen that yellow jersey that's off to the right hanging behind the bench of Southern Maine. You'll see it as they pan as well. There's a yellow jersey bearing number 1. That is for Michael Beveridge, who was an assistant coach for the last 9 seasons at the University of Southern Maine. Originally joined the University of Southern Maine program back in 1998 as a stat man and stayed around the program, an absolute integral part of University of Southern Maine hockey. And he passed away tragically at the end of October, a victim of prostate cancer. So that is why his jersey hangs up there, and he will be played for throughout this season for the University of Southern Maine. Certainly a staple throughout the years, coming here to Edward T. Berry Ice Rink, up here in the booth when he was doing the stats, and then down there as well when he was an assistant coach for this program. So that's why you see that gold jersey behind the University of Southern Maine bench. You can see it from that shot. So certainly wish the best to him and his family, and certainly to the Southern Maine program, who lost a Husky legend in Michael Beveridge, gone too young, just in his 50s, after 33 years as part of the Southern program. We are ready to go. We still have a minute 23 on this power play, and it is going to be a big one. We switch sides again to UMass Boston, the home white and blue, moving left to right, attacking Deloisio's goal. Southern Maine, the visitors today, in their home or their road navy jersey, trimmed white gold.
Wrong with it.
Yeah, right away, he can barely get his leg over the board to get into the bench. We'll see how, if he's able to return. 1 minute to go as UMass Boston continues on their power play. Petrozella. This one knocked down in front of the net. Beacons did have a goal that was waved off early for a high stick. 43 seconds remain on the Beacon power play. Trying to shift through a couple of different players. Alex Duncan, number 13. This one moved to the right. Peters went to put that one in front of the net and left the puck behind. Was able to track it down, but the opportunity was gone at that point. 26 seconds. Southern Maine just trying to clear this one down ice, and they do very nice to get it out of the zone.
Venture to say it's an equipment issue. It's been punched over on the bench. It does look like maybe retying his skate. Doesn't seem to be injured. Good for the Beacons.
10 seconds left on the power play, and it's covered by Deloisio. So 7 seconds with this offensive zone face-off. Matt, it's going to be interesting how they approach this one.
Yeah, let's see who Coach Lyle puts out there here, because 7 seconds, that's kind of an awkward time. You kind of want to go with the power play unit, but if you lose the draw, traditionally those aren't your best defenders. You don't want to get them caught in defensive rush. So
Corey Clifton will take the face-off, number 10 in white. Clifton loses the face-off, tried to be shifted down ice, instead gets reversed. Power play is over, and now Southern Maine's got to sprint back into it. Beacons try to get the attack. They score now with even strength, but they still have the opportunity, and Southern Maine still has not been able to switch their lines after the power play ended. They should be able to do so here, at least get one player to switch, and they do. One knocked in deep, shot comes in, blocked. Attempt came in from Concannon. Battle on the far board. Southern Maine comes away with it, flip it down ice. It's Dowler, who's been involved in just about everything, number 8 blue. He has 2 penalties and 2 goals.
stay out of the box. Need him on the ice.
They certainly do, and you can see every single time he does like to give that extra hit at the end. If you're not careful, you can get hit, you can get called for it. Officials are looking for it. You can't hide when you're 6'4".
Oh, very difficult.
This one is in!
Oh,
it came out of nothing!
That's bizarre. Oh, folks, this is just a weird bounce. Honestly, I don't know. I got to see this again.
He just tries to whip it in front, and I think it goes off a defender, off the goaltender's skate, and he backheels it into his own net. And there's Gino Carabelli second.
So we got Peters with 2 and Carabelli with 2. This is a weird goal, folks. I mean, like you said, pinball action. I think you're correct. Off the D and then off the goaltender and in. And it was behind the net. I think he was more looking for a pass.
Oh, absolutely.
See if the center
I
was.
hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, you might ask me, say, oh, I absolutely was.
I saw what was going on there. I knew I could bank it off 2 and get it in, but just a weird play. Hey, what do they always say, right? Get pucks to the net. You never know what might happen. And Carabelli just proved that point.
Southern Maine right into the attack, trying to make it 6-4, and it would not shock either myself or Matt if Southern Maine found a way to get another one, because that's how this game is gone. But you now have 3 players sitting on hat trick.
That goal is crushing us.
Unbelievable
Just
how
crushing, yeah. Because he killed off the power play. That was I'm sure your number one motivation coming into this period. Let's kill it off, and then get back to our game plan, and then a free goal.
Peters on 2, Carabelli on 2, and then Dowler on 2 for Southern Maine. Can anyone get the hat trick tonight? Well, we talk about UMass Boston not getting anything to bounce their way. Well, there's a bounce that's gone their way, and they've had 2 goals that have come from basically the flukiest of circumstances. The first and now the sixth. First one flicked up high and somehow got into the back net over the goaltender. Second comes from behind the net, goes off the goaltender skate, and he backheels it into his own net. Because this is hockey, that's how it's scored. Carabelli gets the goal.
I guess that goal is indicative of the type of game we've had. You mentioned it. It's always interesting. I'm always looking at the stats to see what else we got going on. But now I'm curious. So Peters with 2, Carabelli with 2. It's nice when you have one guy that's hunting for the hat trick, try to find him. But when you have 2, you can't play favorites, right? So it's something to watch, folks. Who's going to get it?
I'm not sure if Carabelli and Peters will be out there on the same line, but we'll certainly find out. But it's Peters number 23 and
nice
Carabelli number 19, and that's a nice save sprawling off to his right by Deloisio, who it's not on either goaltender tonight.
No, not at all. And he's been active. Now, here's the question I have, right? You're thinking, okay, quick turnaround as is D3. You play 7 o'clock on Fridays, traditionally, 7 o'clock on Fridays, 4 o'clock on Saturday. Quick turnaround against a team that, Vegans are putting up, they're going to maybe touch 60 shots on goal, right? And so the Huskies, as coaching staff, you got to think, well, if we're starting this guy tomorrow, do we pull the plug on this game? We're down 3 now and get him some extra rest for tomorrow, or do we go with our 2 or 3 options? I guess that remains seen, but something to be aware of.
It's certainly going to be interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, UMass Boston has a huge matchup against Babson tomorrow. But Southern Maine now has to go down to Providence, and they play with essentially a must-win game against Johnson and Wales. Johnson and Wales pick to finish at the bottom. They're getting blown out by Babson tonight. Southern Maine's got to go in there and pick up 2 points.
Exactly. And I would be thinking about as coaching staff, obviously you want to play the game at hand, but you've really been getting dominated. You're fortunate to even be in this hockey. Scored at every opportunity you've really been given. And so thinking about that, it's something that would enter my head is, do I give my starter a little bit extra rest here and basically call this game? Apparently no.
No, certainly not. You think the next goal, and I assume there will be a next goal, will really determine it. 7-3 is pretty much out of reach, you'd think. But 6-4, and Southern Maine has had their opportunities. They've created them. Southern Maine has been gifted them a couple of times as well from UMass Boston defense, who have played well but have made a couple of crucial turnovers that Huskies have converted. One let go through the leg, keep it in the point. Shot comes in high, goes over the net from Matt Fuller, comes all the way out. Heavy hit. This one nearly blocked down in front. Target was Austin Marini in front of the net.
Good hit by Koprinski. Offside. I like the way he's played 22. And 22, I'm used to seeing my old buddy Frankie August up on the board. 104 points in his career. But so it's weird seeing 22 on the back end. But played well tonight, freshman team. And I like a couple big hits. I like the way he moves the puck. And it's going to be interesting to see how all these freshmen fall.
It's going to be very interesting. But certainly tomorrow, as we get through this third period, as long as the score remains a 3-goal or even more advantage, hopefully, if the Beacons can put this away, we start to look ahead towards tomorrow. And it's certainly going to be interesting, this young core against Babson tomorrow. You're going to need Peters to continue to play at his best, but you're going to need some of these freshmen to really show what they have tomorrow. And there's a couple of guys that are not even playing in the game that are going to have big.
And that's a great point. Is I'm sure early on in this, Coach Lyle is going to want to get some other freshmen lineup, know what they can do. Here's Clifton.
Clifton wraps around the boards, number 10 in white, keeps it on his skate, moves it around, all the way around. Clifton just going all by himself. Clifton, you could start to see what he had in his head.
Yep. But needed one more move.
At that point, he'd had the puck on his stick for the better part of 10 seconds as he wrapped all the way around and then went back in for the attack himself. This time gaining the zone is Bordeaux. Bordeaux moved out to the right, tracked it down, flips it in, line change. Putting the pressure on the forecheck is Benkowski. Well, you really think he wants it. You can tell how much.
I just like the way he's always zipping, feet are moving, right? He's looking to make plays. There, kind of enough to play behind the net. He tries to tuck one home. I got respect for guys like that don't take anything for granted, right? They're just out there trying to create some, in this case, create some offense, and he's also done well. Now, I don't want to jinx him. Done well in the face-offs. I shouldn't have said anything. He's probably going to lose this one now. But that was going to be my second point, is he's really done well in the face-off circuit.
And there's a reason he's a first-line
There you
center.
go. Back me up.
Doesn't have any points on the season, but he's a first-line center because he's out there to win face-off, be involved, play. The points come.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there's a reason he has that first-line center job, because tomorrow it's not necessarily going to be contributing on points. It's going to keep the puck on the stick of the UMass Boston player.
Great point.
Nice forecheck here from UMass Boston, just pinning him back deep. This one knocked forward, but only as far as the center red line. And it's taken back by Osborne and UMass Boston. Nick Benkowskis should have known when he was going through everybody, just trying to take on the world.
For a penalty. Good for him.
That worked too, contributing in a variety of ways.
Final nail, right? You're up 3, 12 to play at home. Beacon's power play, and they know it. I'm guarantee you, coming off the bench right now, they know it. If we can get one here, boys, we got the double. They're not getting 4 this period.
Chris Peters, number 23, is out there. He's on a hat trick. Also out there with Joe Petrozello, the defenseman. The Alex Duncan. Battling for the faceoff will be Owen Bordeaux. Bordeaux loses that faceoff. Whipped around the board by Bartuccio Pereira, but kept in by the Beacon. Moving it to the left, Peters. Back to Petrozello. Petrozello in front of the net. Nearly flicked on. Opportunity there by Nitkin. It's back with Nitkin behind the net. Moving out to the left. Shot comes in, trying to make through traffic and getting in the way. That time, the own man, Alex Duncan, flipped all the way back. No icing because of the power play. Flipped out to the right. Owen Bordeaux tracks it down. Gains the zone. Here we go. Into the attack. Bordeaux holds things up. Waits for his man. Minute 22 remaining on this power play. Peters.
Nice shot.
And it's in front and finished beautifully by Nitkin. Nitkin was there, but Petrozello, is going to get the goal.
Just a classic power play. You get guys in front of the net, take the goaltender's eyes away. It's a little easier when they're 5'9". And just a quick pitch and catch. Peters puts it right in the wheelhouse for Petrozello, who was able to just kind of snap that. I wouldn't even call that a slap shot. I think it was more of a snap, and put that upstairs. And I think this is a good call. I think this is a good call by the Huskies. It's not your goaltender's fault. He faced a ton of rubber tonight. You held on as long as you could. Get him some minutes. I know he's frustrated. Get him some minutes off and get ready for tomorrow. And give your backup goaltender a little bit of time, a little bit of action here. So it's going to be Kyle Penton.
Yep. The
freshman.
True freshman from Waltham, so not too far away. I expect that there's some parents of Mr. Penton out there to our right warming things up. This is his first collegiate appearance. Nice play by getting in the eyes of that goaltender as well. So when the shot came in from Petrozello, he was able to score it. Scored against Norwich, assisted against New England College, and now he gets the second season, does Petrozello. Here it's number 7 of the day, and you got to think 12-12 left. There was a long time where Southern Maine stayed in it, but the last 3 goals have gone to the Beacons, and they probably should.
Ready for my business idea?
Absolutely.
A hockey bullpen. So you don't have your goaltender who's been sitting right on his keister for 2 periods. The last time he warmed up was over an hour ago. He's been in a cold rink, just sitting there.
There's just got to be a little patch of ice,
like something, right? And just at least let him get a feel for it, maybe get the legs rolling. There's got to be something there, Mason. I think I copyright that, by the way.
I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, you also have like the skating treadmills.
Right.
At the very least, you could have one of those on the side of the ring.
Something. It's the only sport I know where you just come in ice cold, literally ice cold, and say, "All right, have at it."
Well, he will have at it. See if the Beacons can heap some more misery on Southern Maine's now freshman goaltender in there. And here's a battle in there on the boards. That's the other thing. 11:44 left. UMass Boston's got to keep their head and not get it pressured into doing anything chippy and committing any silly penalties that will absolutely set Coach Belisle over the edge.
Yep, that's the one thing I would remind during that timeout. I would have reminded my team is we know with this type of deficit, there's going to be some emotions, there's going to be some chippiness. Let's not do anything that's going to get you suspended for tomorrow.
Whether by the conference or by me.
Right. Exactly. Twofold.
Because we've seen from Coach Belisle, he's not going to take any nonsense from this team. Silly penalties, silly plays will get you a seat on the bench. Doesn't matter the quality of the game that they're facing. This is bigger than hockey. 11 minutes to go, third period. Beacons 7, Huskies 3. Mason South, Matt Meisenbacher on the Beacon Broadcasting Network, part of the LEC Digital Network, on this Friday night. Back on the air tomorrow, 4:45 for UMass Boston Baptist. This one shepherded in front. Not sure if it actually got to Kyle Penton, who's still looking for his first collegiate save. One shot comes in front, Penton go behind.
Head. That's a good first collegiate save right off
There
the
you
dome.
go.
I like that. What a moment for him, though, right? Freshman coming in, and you've been working so hard to get to the collegiate level. You're finally here. You're getting some minutes. That's just a really good feeling. Got something going on at the Husky bench here. And I think it was due to the icing. Maybe they're trying to sneak some players on the bench who were actually out there. I think that's what it was.
I've seen them do that a couple of times in this
Yeah.
game where you've seen someone just kind of walk to the bench, step in there, and had to get taken back by the linesman
Try
back.
to hide themselves.
It doesn't work.
Never does. I've never. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I've seen it work. Oh, nice save.
Nice save by Penton, glove
He
save,
got
and
it.
then
Thought it got in. I've seen it work maybe a handful of times where the ref confused, and is calling for, let's say, 22, and 22's like, who, me? I've been on the ice all night. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll get out there. I've seen that before.
certainly hasn't worked in this game. And
No.
with 10:16 to play in the third period, Beacons in control. Shot comes in front of the net. Backhanded shot, score!
That play off the draw. And I want to say it's Matthews. Let me see. Is it 26 or 28?
28.
28.
Skinner.
So it's Skinner. Sorry about that. Skinner with the goal. And he deserves it. He's been around the puck a lot tonight. But that's that face-off play, folks. You've got your right wing there coming in. He's going to go hard back door. And then you just try to get that shot to that side. It's hard for a defenseman to want to get back to that spot at the same speed that Skinner was going. Skinner was there waiting. That set play off the draw that worked. The peak just worked to perfection. No chance there for Penn.
Skinner has now scored in every other game. Scored against UMass Start, Norwich, and now here, the 8th goal of the day. And as hard as Southern Maine has worked, the scoreline finally starting to reflect how much of an outstanding performance. Look at the physicality in that break attempt by Southern Maine. Finally, the scoreline starting to reflect the advantage that UMass Boston has had throughout the day. Oh, flicked in. Best had to be alert to it. Oh, if Best plays the full 9 minutes and 40 seconds, or if they decide to try and get McNamara in there.
Kinsey with a team. That looked like an elbow for eye with. Got that elbow up high in there. And that's what would, as a ref, too, you got to be cognizant, right? Players who get overly frustrated, maybe try to take some of that frustration out on the opposing player. Don't want to see any of that. Still 10 minutes left in the period, just under. Sorry, 9.
UMass Boston, at least in the first couple of showed that they were susceptible to getting baited into some dangerous penalties. So Coach Belisle really tried to put an end to that. A couple of players not playing today because of those penalties. Not going to, but they've been better. But you know that Southern Maine is certainly going to try and do anything to get under their skin.
And you want to tighten it up, right? Now that shift in particular, you really got pinned in your D zone. See the captain Evan Helt there talking to the referee. I think that has to be the elbow at the side wall. It to me looked like he got that elbow up a little bit, but fortunately no injury and call.
Face off just inside the neutral zone. Whipped in. Southern Maine tracked it down. Beacons trying to pin him up against the near board. Kept the line. Would make his way back around. Best shepherding that one behind. Watch close. Finally makes its way all the way around. Patrick Boy tries to clear it. Best is able to freeze it.
This is for the Beacons, right? Keep the lines moving. 1 through 4, get your line, get your shift. Let's continue to get the clock down as best we can. Make sure we've got at least two, if not 3 players back. Anytime Southern Maine has the puck, especially on the breakout or in the neutral zone, make sure we've got enough coverage. Simple things like that, right? You're taught that in Bantam about how to essentially run out the clock in a hockey game of like this. Now, those are things that are going to be talked about on the bench. You don't walk out of here and all of a sudden it's 8-5.
Looks like the Beacons are actually going to be killing a power play right now.
Boy.
For a minute 53. I'm not sure what happened. Kind of came out of nothing. So, hey, at the end of the day, it's an 8th game. You're going to probably need to kill off some power plays tomorrow to win the game, so why not continue to work on them?
And most likely referees sawing kind of the emotions rise a little bit and just want to call a quick penalty, and let them know, hey, we're aware of what's going on.
Best filled it, kept alive, and cleared down ice.
That rhythm we were talking about, right? That's one that hits the chest out. Hasn't been enough action for him.
Certainly get the action tomorrow. What a heavy hit dealt by Michael Krapinski. Third line defenseman. That's what he's in there for.
Been doing that all night.
He certainly has. We've seen some heavy hits. That one rattling those far boards. Luckily, it's not cement back there, so they do give a little bit as this one's wrecked high in net. 50 seconds on that kill for UMass Boston.
Thinking a different league. Who would drop that? So you've got
yes,
you've got Dowler, who was spending a lot of time talking to Krapinski in front of net there, and I think if this was minor league hockey, they'd be seeing what each other's faces felt like.
6'3" and 6'4". Those two are used to physical brands of hockey.
Am I allowed to say I kind of want to see that tilt? Am I allowed? I don't even know.
We've seen everything in this game.
Yeah, can we get a permission slip for one fight?
I have a feeling Coach Belisle will not get
yeah,
that to
that's
you.
true.
Absolutely not.
You're probably right.
But
in a different league. Hey, maybe we'll see him in the Coast.
So maybe. Certainly going to be interesting. And those two have not given an inch. Got to give it a credit to Dowler. Does have 2 goals, and he's got it on his stick right now. Number 8. Trying to weave in between everybody. Still keeping possession. Now weaving back. We'll head to his bench. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much to play for in the final 6.5. But look for number 19 in white. That's Carapelli. He is on a hat trick. So, Peters. Same with Peters. Not sure how much more we'll see of Peters, but Carapelli's a 4th liner who you'd probably expect to see. And there he is, number 19, at the top of your screen. Another heavy hit. And then a little bit of an extra blow for good measure from Pat Keegan, number 16.
That's Peter Forsberg counter. You're up against the wall. You see a guy lining you up. Kind of lean back, right back into him as you make contact. Peter Forsberg invented that.
Blocked on its way through. Under 6 to play. Mass Boston. Oh, this one takes the deflection on its way to Daluizio. Covered by,
people forget Flyer.
Yeah,
tail end of his career. People remember the Avalanche. And what was the other?
You're going to catch me off guard here, aren't you?
Quebec Nordique.
There you go.
Which is a little bit of a trick question, right?
Of course.
A little bit. But yeah, people forget he played for Flyers. I think he actually snuck a few games in with the Nashville Predators, too. Could be wrong on that. Someone check. Tweet us. Let me know if I was right.
Love the games like this where we just get to start talking NHL at 8-3.
A little hockey knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This one centered in front, take the deflection. Haven't seen too much from Kyle Penn. Beacons have kind of taken their foot off the gas. This one taking a direct hit and then sending it forward, Benkowskis.
Penn's probably thinking, I want 10 shots on goal. I gave up a goal, so I want to get to that 9 save percentage.
Right.
So give me credit for that.
There's one.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Get 10 shots on goal so I can get my stats up.
Well, it's your first collegiate appearance, so in your head you have this high-flying, like supernatural level save that you're waiting for it to happen.
Back. Ooh, a little contact there. A little extra contact there. I don't know. We're not going to get it. All right.
Yeah,
Keep the
nothing
clock
below
running.
us. Boy, Skinner's been down a bunch of times. He's
Yeah.
got the goal that he probably has deserved, but he has been hit, been down. Another heavy check in there. This time, Joe Petrozella giving it to him.
Well, he's vocal on the ice, too. I think he all mentioned that, he's not silent. Put it that way. He has no problem letting you know what's on his mind. I'm sure that
Well,
has
it's also
taken its
Brendan
toll.
Dowler.
Yes,
so.
exactly. There you go. 2 peas in a pod.
So when anyone can hit Dowler because they're going to get hit back for sure. Here's an opportunity in the breakaway. Shot comes in on the backhand save. Nicely done on a shot from Nitkin.
Good for the young guy. Nitkin trying to go 5-hole there. Hit 2-on-0. And try to tuck that one 5-hole. I think it was Danny Walker. That was nice. Walker that was with him on that. But try to go 5-hole. Good save.
Right, Penn didn't commit.
Right.
Stayed with the play. Just waited for it to develop and ultimately got his pad down to make the save.
Very easy to panic on a play like that and open up unnecessary holes.
You've got all the nerves there, don't you?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Usually leave it to the true freshman goaltender to jump first.
Yeah.
Not just in ice hockey, soccer, field hockey, whatever it's going to be. The true freshman in there probably going to usually be the one to make the first move, and the veteran's going to be able to deke him. Not there. Done. In the zone this time, Curtis Judd. Another battle deep in there on the board. Heavy hit from Ryan Rowland. This one comes out. It's an opportunity for the breakaway. Carabelli on the hat trick. Reverses it.
Didn't have enough tank at the end of a shift. Got to get off. Oh, he's looking at him. Not getting off.
He doesn't want to get off. It's like, I'm good, coach. I just watched you. You're clearly not, Gino.
I don't blame him.
No, not at all. He's staying in there. He's going to
got to change now. There's nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Well, because he knows. He looks at the clock. Oh, man, I don't even know if he gets
He's
another
got
shift.
one more shift?
Maybe. Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah, he'll probably get one more.
The coach knows.
Yes. Oh, they're well aware. Especially if there's one guy where it's Steven Bucco. I played with him, and he could probably tell me my stats from way back when. This guy knows. Especially with forwards. I shouldn't have said that. Not with goalies. He doesn't care about forwards, though. Forwards, he can tell you.
Carabelli sitting on the 2 goals. He and Peters have been on 2 goals for a long time. Peters has been on that since early in the second period. Actually, late in the first.
Yeah.
But I think his day is just about done. I haven't seen him out there for a couple of shifts now. He's got bigger fish to fry tomorrow with Bab.
And that's bring up a great point. That I think you touched on it a little earlier, but first, second line, really no need to even play at this point. Maybe if you want to give your third and fourth line a shift off, but the last thing you want to do is some sort of freak injury.
There's Gino. He's back out
there.
there.
All right,
He's
here
right
we go.
back out there.
Here we go. Hat trick watch, folks.
Number 19 in white. The only thing that's left to happen in this one is we've seen 3 players score 2. Nobody's got the hat trick yet.
Got to be off. Played every other shift for a while. But I'll tell you what, he's finding that extra gear, right?
Absolutely. You do that when you're on a hat trick. Get maybe 1 or 2 of those. Certainly as a fourth liner, you really don't get too many opportunities for it. And when the second one went in the way it did, you thought, well, the skies are just aligning perfectly for it.
Right.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen for him tonight.
The problem, too, is he plays the left side. So it's easy. It's very, very easy for a right wing to get, quote-unquote, trapped out there.
Oh,
but
yeah.
For a left wing, you're right near the board. You can't really fake it.
Yep. 2:20 to go. Final period, 8-3. Beacons in a game that has been very different throughout. Southern Maine kept it close. They
really did.
Traded goals. They made it 2-1. They made it 3-2. They had a chance to make it 4-3. But
they hung around. That free goal.
Right after the power play.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm trying to think of how much time was left in the period. It was still
like 17 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. But that one really sent them home. I mean, Carabelli I can almost guarantee was just trying to get that puck to the center and look for somebody, and it ends up banging off people and goes in. I mean, can't have it. Here's a breakaway.
Bordeaux gains the zone. What a pass! Petrozella.
That's his second.
Yep.
Now we got, I don't know, minute 37. We got a lot of hat trick watches here. And I guarantee, watch now, no one will get it. We've talked about it too much.
We certainly have. Well, what else are we going to talk? And it's we talked about it. It was 3-1. We're saying
Right.
we just multiply that by 3. You get the 9-3 result that we had the last time these two teams faced. There it is, 9.
In the third period, really, we talked about this too, how people are going to look and see, oh, wow, the Beacons really steamrolled them. In a lot of ways, they did. But this was a close hockey game.
It certainly was. It took a fluke goal behind the net that ricocheted off of a defender and off the goaltender's skate to really put this one away.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And maybe that's justice because of the way that Southern Maine got their goals
Also
and
a
the
good
fact
point.
that they, here's another opportunity. Nice save by Best. Still alert.
He needed that. He really needed that. Man, he'll hang his hat on that save there.
Take that going into tomorrow. Opportunity in front of the net. Ooh, that could be a penalty. Not. Delayed penalty there. Minute 5 to go. 9-3. Beacons, one last push to make this a double digit. Don't see many of those. They flip this one in deep. Tracking it down in there. Jake Atkins. Battling for it now. Patrick McCoy. Well, at least offensively, you're feeling pretty good going into tomorrow.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, that's something that I think Coach Weil will really try to harp on here in this period is, hey, guys, you got the utmost confidence tomorrow against rival Babbitt. Put up 9 tonight against Southern Maine. Again, a lot of things that we're probably going to watch on film and try to speak, but offensively, we should be feeling very, very confident going against the Beavers.
Both Babson and UMass Boston with convincing wins on the first game of their back-to-back heading into their collision course tomorrow. It was 5-0 Babson over Johnson and Wales at the second period intermission. Not sure what it is now, but I don't expect it's any smaller than that. UMass Boston piling it on in this third period. 10 seconds exactly left. It's 9-3. Well, we do have a lot of things to talk about in the post, but your final thoughts before we hit the final buzzer?
Like what I saw, the way the Beacons approached this hockey game in the first and really in the second period. Talked about they played defense today through their offense. The forecheck was strong. They skated with the puck, but the majority of the night they possessed it, and I really thought they limited the amount of ice that Southern Maine had to really create anything in those first periods. Now, the mistakes that they did make ended up in the back of the net. So that's something that needs to be corrected. But ultimately, for the boys in white, this was a hockey game where we really dominated with our forward. And I think that's great. I think there's a lot built off that. But we can't have the turnovers they had tomorrow. Give 3 kind of freebies to a Babs. It's going to be very difficult. That's something that needs to be addressed. But offensively, with the 4 lines we had tonight, really like the Beacons put out.
Still have a lot to come on the post-game show. A 9-3 victory for the Beacons over the University of Southern Maine. We still have 3 stars coming up. We'll look ahead to tomorrow, and we'll get this one wrapped up from the Edward Berry Ice Rink in just a few minutes. So we had to break, and we'll see you on the other side. It's the Beacons 9 and the Huskies 3.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
I just wanted to get good grades and to do well. But it also made me realize that I have a lot of career goals.
You're there to get a full college experience, not only participate in your sport, but participate in things outside of that. And it's all about growing as a person.
My coaches have helped me with figuring out who I really am. Their lives are dedicated for us to succeed.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
The University of Massachusetts Boston, with its scenic oceanfront campus, easily accessible to downtown Boston, is recognized as a model of excellence for urban public universities. 16 NCAA Division III sports are part of the more than 100 student organizations that create an engaging campus life in America's biggest and best college town. UMass Boston, Boston's urban public research university for the 21st century.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletic.
And we welcome you back inside Edward T. Berry Ice Rink as the Zambonis make their way around a 9-3 final game that really wasn't 9-3. It certainly was through the first two periods as UMass Boston gave a couple away, but was able to extend their lead in the third period and take this one home. Same exact scoreline we saw the last time they faced, 29-3 the final. Mason South, Matt Meisenbach here as we take a look at the stats from that third period and the final stats. 61-26. That's certainly. How about 50 saves between Deloisio and Penn when he got in there late? He did good.
Yeah, he did, and that's why I mentioned it earlier in the night. By the second period, he was at what, 46?
Yep.
Yeah, that's more than that's like a busy full night, and then he still had the full third period. That's why I thought, given the way the game has gone, but the flip side to that, at that point, it was a cool game. You kind of have to. That's tough golf. So he's going to be. I don't care what state he's in. 61 shots, or maybe I don't know how many pen, but let's call it 50. Say 10 out of 10. That's a real busy night. He's going to have to get the fluids, and they got to still do a ride down to Providence.
Yep.
And check into the hotel. Probably get some food. Probably looking by the time he calms down, 11:30, 12 o'clock. By the time he can realistically call for the 4 p.m. puck drop.
And a game that you have to win. Come off of a 9-3 loss, you're going up against that. There aren't a ton on paper that Southern Maine is going to say we have to win this game because we're the better team. Johnson Wales is one of those.
Yeah, 100%. The last one and two is, let's be realistic. Both could potentially go 1 and 2 in the bottom of the rank. Want to have that? Both teams do, and it'll be interesting see what they do. Boy, if you're the Beacon, though, and you want to talk about confidence going into tomorrow, you walk out of Norwich kind of feeling like, I don't know, iffy on that. Should have had a win, and you let it slip away. You still get the tie at Norwich. You're like, okay, fine. But then you come here, your home opener, put 61 shots on goal. You win 41 of 77 faceoffs. Walk out with 9 wins. That's a home run, no matter how you shake it.
And you had that New England College 5-2 win in the middle. So you come off of that disappointing tie against the number 1 team at the time in the land, and you follow that up 5-2 and 9-3 victory. That has to feel good, knowing that it could have gone the other way. You have a disappointing result against Norwich that easily could have gone the other direction. Didn't let that bother you in any way. You come out here and you have 2 convincing victories. We had 3 players that all ended up on 2 goals. They are our 3 stars of the game, and hopefully we'll have a chance to talk to one of them, Chris Peters, but he was absolutely fantastic today. Then you had 2 goals as well from Carabelli and then Petrozello late.
Like the way Peters was around the puck early. You touched on this. He got his quick, I thought, probably doing Fitzpatrick. It wasn't meant to be, but I really thought that set the tone early for this team. Carabelli, the freshman, get 2, both of which, the second one in particular, it was just kind of the both of them. The first one, he's in the front of the net, puck drops down, he bangs it home. Second one, he's trying to throw one to the center of the ice, goes off the goalie net. 2 goals, right? No matter how you shake it. So good on him, starting his collegiate career, putting 2 on the board, and then Petrozelli with the one late, he gets 2 as well. So a lot of scoring for the guys that stood out.
But I think at the end of the day, this has to be a good thing for Coach Belisle. He's looking at it, he says, I had 3 players score goals.
Right.
You're not going to score 9 against Babington tomorrow. I hope you do.
Yeah.
By all means, I don't think you will.
Without a doubt.
But at the end of the day, you now have multiple options on multiple lines as well that you feel can give you goals in big situations. Sometimes it takes just throwing it in front of the net. It'll find its way through.
One of which was Teeman, my 3rd star, right?
Yeah.
Anytime a defense getting goals, you got to be pretty happy with that. Yeah, I agree totally. And it looks like we are going to get Coach Belisle here in a minute. But, yeah, I said it. Get scoring from a lot of different, and I'll let Coach kind of elaborate, but get scoring from a lot of different individuals right now, and that has to be a comfort.
It certainly does. We're just waiting for Coach to head on over. I will trade headsets so you can have a conversation with Coach, hockey man to hockey man.
Sounds good. Coach, but a solid win tonight. Talking off there, you had like 9 goals, close first, second period there. How are you keeping the team? It's like every time you pulled away, Southern Maine would get one and kind of make it close again. How are you keeping that hockey?
I thought we played really good structure period. I thought it was period structure the way we wanted. And then the second period, I thought we got away from it. The offense was there. Third.
Yeah, and it's like the check tonight really worked, especially like that first. Southern Maine had no ice work. Really, we were talking about it. Best defense was forwards, right? By not guys. Is that something you guys worked on throughout getting that check down?
Yeah, definitely. It's really reloading above the puck and working on that. And if our coverage center up high, really simple. On that head and rotating that forecheck. They had flurries. Sam had pretty good. They were out working. Found that second period. They would get that structure better. Third, up that down a little.
Took care of business tonight. 9th and tomorrow. What's going to be the message, guys? Focus ready.
Just same message all year. I think we were, pretty night. Tomorrow. They got a team Gladden. Don't very young, but we're excited.
Plenty of confidence going in.
Yeah, no, I mean, and these guys don't know any better.
Yeah,
it's great.
True.
They don't know. So
that's true. They're in for a ride.
Sometimes bad. All
Find out. Well, we appreciate it, Coach. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this wrap up.
Thank
Affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family.
Some good thoughts from Coach Belisle off of a 9 victory over Southern. We take a look ahead. Most important thing tomorrow, 4 o'clock, puck drop, 3:45 on the air for the pre show. Beavers, traditional rivalry match here in the NEHC. That's coming in the number 6 country. According to the latest polls, they had no problem taking care of Johnson Wales, Southern opponent. Southern Maine travel down to Providence, take that travel, take on Beacon, Hobart next Friday. Elmira, newcomers on Saturday. Any final thoughts from this one, Matt? I covered the vast majority of this one, but a crazy hockey for 2 periods and exactly should have seen probably for the first period in the third.
Well, I like what Coach said there. All right, energy is going to be good. Time you 9, it's going to be good vibes. Always love themselves. You got a quick turnaround, and so what you don't want to do, everything built tonight, dissipate, and freshman that do not ready. Can't. I think that was the point on cap. So many freshmen sure that discipline is there tomorrow. You film tonight, build up things well. You want to flip on, and then you just start over, right? Score 0-0 and walk, start building tomorrow. I like that message late from Coach. Thought this penalty obviously, but overall.
Yeah, I also like what he said. They don't know any different. They don't. These are young guys. They are so pumped up for tomorrow. They have absolutely no idea what this atmosphere is like. They have probably this inflated idea of what it is, and it probably won't live up to that. But we certainly hope that it does. Those young freshman minds that were at some point.
Without a doubt. Yeah, you hear enough about it.
And it will, sooner rather than later. 4 o'clock puck drop tomorrow with Beavers and your Beacon. A 9-3 final. We want to thank our fantastic production team here at UMass Boston. Allie Crawford, our producer, our directors, Nicholas Branch, Jack Snyder, Nicholas Suma on Instant Replay, Danny Colazzo, Georgia Bonnie, Sage Story on our cameras tonight, Matt Meisenbacher, my fantastic co-commentator tonight. My name is Mason South. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, your final score.